You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? It's a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And they are a-dwindling. So soak them up. In fact, the last really big one, full slate. We've got 30 football games left in our season. More than half of them will take place in the next 72 hours. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. How are you? How's your week going?
The week's going great because it is nearly over, which is always a good thing. Weekends are fun. There's a lot of football on television, which is exciting. Been a solid week. No, I'm fired up. We figured something out this morning, though.
What's that?
And I'm a little bothered by it.
Okay.
Because it was a while back in which you said you got haircuts and your wife doesn't notice you getting a haircut.
No. In fact, there have been times in which I've gotten a haircut. I've gone through the full cycle, have gotten another haircut, still nothing.
And, well, I looked at you this morning. I said, hey, you got a haircut yesterday. And you went, Tuesday.
3 days ago.
And I realized that I am officially your work wife, that this has happened. That hit me right between the eyes.
Well, here's what should concern you. The wife actually noticed it before you did. That's what really should concern you. And I know it shocked the heck out of me that my wife noticed like same day. Came home from work Tuesday and said, hey, you got your haircut. I mean, I wanted to go into Fred Sanford routine.
Right.
You know, Red Fox, the big one's coming, Elizabeth. That just dates you a little bit, by the way, when you go Sanford and Son.
Only a tiny bit. But, it's on TV land, David. The kids
right.
might be watching it somewhere.
Well, they should be watching it, let me tell you. All right? Anytime the kids can watch Don Rickles or Red Fox, that's a good afternoon.
You're on to something there. The clip of Fred Sanford going into the DMV and breaking down DWB in like 1972, 73, 74, whatever the hell that was. That's made its rounds and people have been throwing it out there on social media. Could you imagine if, and I look at whatever your direction is, could you imagine if those who have a problem, the PC world that we live in, turned on 1974 network television for a couple of hours?
You mean all those hit shows in the 70s?
Yeah.
Right.
Just give me Sanford and Son, followed by the Jeffersons, followed by Archie Bunker, and call me.
Right. Probably wouldn't last a month. And by a month, I mean a day.
Or 10 minutes.
Right.
One or the other. A lot of strange things happening on Miller and Moulton this morning. We have a poll question before the show started. And I didn't notice David's haircut. I don't know what the hell is going on.
These are strange times. Something very bad is going to happen today. Very bad. We're a little worried about Felipe. We had to wake him out of a sound coma at 5:44 a.m. Fortunately, he lives 4 to 6 minutes away. But it's always good. And Felipe, just so you know, every time we wake you up, we do have you on speaker. So we do get the enjoyment of you stumbling, bumbling, finding the phone. Right. So, we have to get something out of the deal. Hey, you can't get mad at us for calling you. Every time we call you, we save your job. So, you have to welcome the phone call.
Yeah, there are a lot of people in our position that wouldn't call.
Right. They would line your replacement up and just wait for the day that, you don't show.
And when the resumes start coming in, we may do the same, Felipe. Be careful.
Although Felipe apparently saved the bacon of Raj across the hall. Yesterday was Raj's day to sleep through the alarm, and Felipe got that station up and running for 6 a.m. So, we're between the two, we should be able to get on the air every day. We should.
And I'm getting closer to learning how to do it myself, which is, it's very important to me.
Well, whatever you do, you want to keep me out of the room. Keep me away from the buttons.
Oh, no.
I'm like the guy you keep away. Never give him the nuclear codes. Never.
It's 6, Baker.
Do you know we have 9 home underdogs in the NFL this weekend? 9 home underdogs. That used to be an absolute betting lock. You would just line up and bet the 9 home dogs. In fact, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to take the points and there are some that I don't think are going to cover, but just for the heck of it, last full weekend of the year, just going to see if what used to be a tried and true betting principle, whether or not it can still apply. Just take the 9 home dogs. And I mean, I think you got to win at least 5 of them, which, probably covers the juice, and it's no worse than a break-even weekend.
Here you go. For those wondering what those games are, we start on Saturday with a pair. The Broncos are getting 11.5 against the Chiefs.
11.5 at home.
And the Chiefs pretty much locked into the 2.
Yeah,
I know there's a way for them to get the 1.
Well, yeah, they win and Tennessee loses. They're the 1.
Yeah,
but
Tennessee's playing Houston.
Well, right.
Okay. So we move on to the Washington football team as a 7-point favorite on the road, taking on your New York Giants.
Right, who are starting Jake Fromm, who I think threw for 14 yards. That's not an exaggeration. I believe he threw for 14 yards in his one start a couple weeks ago.
David, who's been the best rookie quarterback this year in the National Football League? You could argue it's been the guy from Houston. He's getting 10.5 against Tennessee. 10.5.
I think I'd go Mac Jones, but okay. Second best, I'd go Davis Mills. I would. 3rd round pick there. So, yeah, Houston, who's been playing a lot better, getting 10.5. But then again, Tennessee, even if he doesn't play, I think the Titans had to be fired up seeing Derrick Henry at practice this week. It's kind of like,
had to change the entire David. In fact, I know, whether it's a guy getting traded to a team, and I worked in hockey as a broadcaster as my main sport, but whether it was a trade or a guy coming back from injury, David, you feel it. Wow. Guy comes in that locker room, there's a little bit of jump.
Yep.
Guys just are in a better mood, and it's a it factor. You can't just put your finger on it, but when you see it, you know what it is, and I think you're absolutely right. The Colts, who have not won in Jacksonville
2014, the last time they emerged from Northeast Florida with a W, or London for that matter. I think they played one time a Jacksonville home game in London.
Felipe was like in the 8th grade.
Yeah, really. I mean, you weren't even oversleeping yet. Seriously,
your mom was tucking you in
ago.
and waking you up the last time that Indianapolis won in Jacksonville.
Yeah, January 2014. Where were you? 8th grade, 9th grade?
8th grade.
To drop to save right there.
It is
Put that one on the reel, Felipe.
Yep.
8th grade. Packers are laying 3.5 at Detroit.
But we don't know if Rodgers is going to play, and if so, for how long.
Right.
It's probably just going to be a little bit. He wants to play. This just in.
Aaron seems to get what he wants lately.
Well, he is this season.
Yes.
All
well,
right.
that's why I said lately.
Yes.
The Saints getting 3.5 or laying 3.5 at Atlanta, their home stadium, the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Right. Because the Saints win in Atlanta and Atlanta wins in New Orleans. New Orleans, by the way, with a win, and if the Niners lose to the Rams, the Saints are in the playoffs. So the Saints are showing up at the stadium thinking, you know what? We're going to the playoffs because we're going to beat Atlanta, and it's about damn time for the Rams to beat San Francisco. They're not going to lose 6 straight to the Niners, are they? And the Rams are playing for the division title and the 2 seed. I mean, they got a lot to play for.
Right. No doubt there, because Seattle is taking on Arizona, and you think Arizona being a 6.5-point favorite at home can take care of business.
Yeah, because if the Rams lose, they go for the 2 to the 5.
The Patriots are a 6-point favorite at Miami, and the Chargers are a 3-point favorite at Vegas. So those are all of your road favorites.
And the Dolphins game is what got me thinking about our poll question. Today kind of frightens me. We had a poll question ready before the start of the show.
Giddy up.
I don't know if that means we're going to have a great show. Or if something bad is going to happen today. But I was thinking about it in the morning shower. Which would you rather have? And the Dolphins were my inspiration, Mark.
I'll tell you what, I'm a little worried about your showering when the Dolphins are your inspiration.
Listen, I am too. I'm not going to lie. So if you're a Dolphin fan, Sunday's a dilemma. A win, you have a winning season, you sweep the hated Patriots, all right? And you go, you know what? We're not perfect, but 10-win season, 9-win season, you know what?
It doesn't mean much to Mike Tomlin, but
right. It's just, another day at the office. But for us, you got to start somewhere. Or are you like, let's just lose. Let's get the better draft position. This game could cost us 5 spots in each round of the draft. Easily. There are so many teams that are in the 9-8, 8-9, potentially Steelers, 8-8-1 category that, a win could cost you 5-6 valuable spots in every round of the draft.
I mean, other than the first for Miami, obviously, but it does affect a lot of the rest of their draft because right now their position's 14. If they lose, and I don't know where their strength of schedule is and those types of things, they're the worst 8-8 team. They have the highest draft pick of the 8-8s based on their winning percentage and Atlanta's winning percentage. Atlanta would be slightly ahead of them with the loss if Atlanta were to win, but they'd be probably 11th in draft order if they lose the game. If they win, they're going to be
17, 18.
17,
right.
18.
So think about that. We're talking 6-7 spots in each round of the draft is what's at stake.
And really think about that from the second round standpoint, because Miami, just in your Dolphin scenario,
right,
they don't have a first round pick. But
they have the Niners, but yes.
But they don't have
their
theirs.
Own. Right.
But the difference between picking 50th and like 42nd, what value you're getting, that's that money spot of the second round where you're getting good talent at the second round price.
In fact, there was a research study done a couple years ago that said the 42nd pick of the draft is the best value pick of the entire draft. In terms of the quality of players that have been taken at 42 and the salary involved at that spot, et cetera, it was the best value spot of the draft was pick 42. Which I will say, if you believed in the study and you had one of those picks in the 20s, it was screaming at you, trade out.
100%.
You're sitting
basically
there at
picks 20 through 32. The only value in picks 20 through 32 is holding that fifth year.
Correct. And teams have traded back in to get their quarterback at 32. The Vikings did it with Bridgewater. The Ravens did it with Lamar.
But what history is showing you from that study is that the value of picks 20 through 32 is the fifth year, not anything else. That you're going to lose more than you're going to win on that pick.
And so if you're sitting there at pick 23, might as well trade back and take that early second round pick around 40, 42 and accumulate some picks.
So that's where the inspiration came. And now we broke down all the reasons why. But the question is the following.
Well, before we ask the question, I do just want to throw out a comment from PBR in our Twitch chat room. When the Finns are your inspiration, there's a problem.
No doubt about it. 100% correct, sir.
Yes. But we're going to trudge forward anyway. We are going to, face our demons and just keep going forward. So here it is, NFL fan. And this doesn't apply to many of you in the Tampa St. Pete area because your team's in. But there are more fans whose teams are not in than in. So you're out of the playoffs entering this weekend. Do you want to, A, have your team win? Because as Herm Edwards famously said,
you play to win the game.
Or B, well, no, man, if we're out, let's lose for the draft position. That's your dilemma this weekend. Which side are you on? Play to win the game or already looking ahead, need the better draft position? Felipe, you're a Dolphin fan. Play to win the game, 2022 draft. Which is it, buddy? It's one or the other. There's no gray area.
No, there's
none.
Nope. And David, while he sits there and contemplates this and beats himself up.
He damn near is taking his sweatshirt and pulled it over his head. This
the
is bothering
Bears
him
play
so
the
much.
Vikings.
Right. Oh, no, these are all division games. That's the thing. There's genuine angst with just about every matchup this weekend.
Realistically, once the Colts win, the Steelers-Ravens game is a meaningless football game.
Except it's the Steelers and the Ravens, so it's far from meaningless.
Yes, I understand. That's why I'm bringing up these specific games. I don't know. I mean, I think the Eagles and Dallas are a little more the Giants' rival, but the Washington football team, the New York football Giants, do not like one another.
No, they do not. And not only that, Joe Judge made a comment after the game on Sunday, which seemed as if it was a direct shot at the Washington football team and what's going on there. And Ron Rivera nodded his head this week and said, oh, yeah, we heard what he said. Ron could have let him off the hook, and he was like, no, we're not going to let him off the hook.
So if your team is not in the playoffs, do you want to play to win the game or lose and get a better draft pick?
Yeah, there you go. Felipe, we gave you a minute. We stalled for you there.
I know we're going to lose.
No.
No,
You do not
don't.
know
No,
you're going
you
to
don't.
lose.
No, you don't.
In fact, you as a young Dolph fan, one of the only constants in your life is that you own the Patriots in South Florida.
Yes.
Even with Brady, you used to beat the Patriots at home.
Which is why I'm on the fence, because I like beating the Patriots.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you do. So what's your answer?
What the hell? I want to beat them.
There you
I
go.
want to beat them.
There you go.
There you go.
You put the gun right to his head there, David.
There you go. That's a
play
fan.
To win the game.
That's right, Herm. That's right. And don't you forget it. And not only that, we hate these guys. Yeah. Meanwhile, Bucks fan is like, wow, we used to be in this spot forever.
All the time.
And now, what are these guys talking about?
Let me grab my phone. Did my playoff money go through? Yeah, it did. Yep, they already took that money for the first home game.
Yeah. I mean, now it's just a matter of seeing whether or not we're going to get a second
Hey,
one.
no fan, we got a home playoff game again.
Man, this is cute what you guys are talking about here. This doesn't apply to us at all.
You know what you guys need? You guys need a Brady.
Everybody could use a Tom Brady.
Everybody could use a Tom Brady.
Makes
We've
a
got
big difference.
We've got a Pat Kirwan on
do.
the show today. It's good to have a Pat Kirwan.
It is. There's no doubt about it. He comes through twice a week.
And we're glad that you come through listening to us, Miller and Moulton, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Okay, so you want to record a spot now?
Or do we just want to give them live reads?
I'd rather do the live reads.
All right, well,
So you go to
It's-
FLEDchamps.com.
yep.
FLEDchamps.com and sign the petition.
Hold on, I'm going to go
Bring
get a
legal
cord.
sports betting to the state of Florida. Okay. So you got the live read? Because I got it in front
Yeah,
of
I
me.
got it in front of me. You want to just do them live then?
Yeah, it'd be easier, I think, on everybody, don't you think?
He's got to count us down and not run the DraftKings spot, though.
That's why. We could run the draft. We could double. Although it runs first, it's a little awkward. But
well, just adding another minute to the break.
You know what we should do? Maybe do it coming out of breaks.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't we do it coming out of breaks?
Or
today?
right smack in the middle of the break.
We can't. Tampa's running their 5-minute. We have 2 minutes.
No. I'm sorry. Not in the middle of a break, in the middle of a segment. But it's
I think just coming out of break. I think coming out of break because the thing that I told Marty is that we're on the side of this.
Yes, we are.
Well, I mean, but we, you know what I mean? So it's not. By the way, how many did FGCU beat LSU by?
14.
Huh. South Carolina beat them by 6 last night. They're ranked number 1 in the country, and they were at home, weren't they?
Yes.
Okay.
There were a couple of teams at the very bottom of the top 25 who lost yesterday. I think FGCU will be ranked next week, at least in the coaches. They're 28th in the AP. I don't know if they'll get ranked in that one.
There are WNBA players from FGCU, right?
Whitney Knight.
Whitney Knight played in the league for a couple of years. She's basically a European player now. But you make far more money playing in Europe than you do the WNBA.
Whitney
really?
Knight forever changed the way I feel about women's college basketball.
How come?
When she played for FGCU, when we went and saw them, when they won the division or won the conference for the first time, David called the girls' games. I called the guys' games. It was when they went to the finals, and I'd never seen a women's college game in person. And I watched her play, and she played like a guy.
And she was a freshman.
I mean, she's at 6'2". She's juking, throwing it between her legs and going around girls. And I'm like, what in the hell is this?
Wow.
I mean, like you knew the first time you saw her how good she was.
Right. The eye test.
She had a sequence against Jacksonville, which was the best sequence I've ever seen in FGCU basketball, male or female. She grabbed the rebound at one end. She's a 6'3" center. Grabbed the rebound at one end, literally dribbled through 4 players, got to the lane, went behind the back, showed it to the right. Defender went that way, went behind the back, and finger rolled it in.
Oh.
It's the best sequence I've ever seen.
She did a rondo.
Yeah.
That's cool.
She was drafted 13th. Technically, it was second round. They had 10 teams at the time.
Right.
But she was drafted 13th overall.
And played for how many years, you said?
She played 5, actually. She hurt her knee early 1 year and redshirted. She was here 5 years.
How many years did she play WNBA?
2.
She's first round pick.
She got drafted by the wrong team. She got drafted by the Sparks when the Sparks were veteran laden and championship worthy. So there was really no spot for her. So then she was kind of in roster hell. And she sat for basically 2 years, played a little bit with a couple of other teams, but the money and the playing time was in Europe. She's in either Poland or Russia, making like 6 figures.
That is amazing.
First digit crooked, too.
$30 seconds.
Her father wanted no part of her going to FGCU. None. Hated it. Every step of the way, hated it.
Wow.
For the first
Oh my goodness.
For the first 10 years of Semesco's career, that was the only home visit he ever did recruiting-wise, was Whitney.
Ilya Kovalchuk is on an outdoor rink with 2 little kids just dangling around them, and they're trying everything they can to take it away from him. And
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"25 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network, the starting 5 coming up in 12 minutes' time. A variety of responses to our poll question, at least in the Twitch chat room. Feel free. Watch us, listen to us, follow us, subscribe to us. The Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. You just want to text the show. It's very easy. If you never have before, FSN Radio, all one word, FSN for Florida Sports Network, FSN Radio, to 21,000. and then you're in, and you could, text anytime, day or night, whatever's on your mind. Our poll question already generating a bit of response. Final weekend of the NFL regular season. You're out of the playoffs. Your team's not going. What do you want? Win the division game this weekend because you play to win the game, Herm. Or
you let them off the hook.
No.
And you get a draft pick.
Right, Denny. Okay, we know who they are, but we let them off the hook because we want to save 4, 5, 6 spots in the first, second, third, fourth rounds of the draft. It's a dilemma. As you as a fan.
This is not a question for me because I'm not a fan really of any one team. And being a Michigan native, I would want the Lions to lose, to have a shot at the first overall, and Jacksonville to win.
Right.
I mean,
which isn't going to happen. But
the Pittsburgh side of things, I know they want to win. Like, my wife would never, ever, 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 ever want to lose to the Baltimore Ravens for a draft pick. I mean, ever.
Wouldn't matter. Franchise quarterback on the line.
I don't know a
matter.
Steeler fan that would, and for that matter, I don't know a Raven fan that would feel that way. If I guaranteed the Raven fan that the Colts have won the game, they still would want to win this football game.
A lot of damage has been done with that final week of the season win. I mean, the Packers were able to overcome it, but the Packers were in line to get the first overall pick of the 1989 draft. I mean, it was only Troy Aikman, but they won the final game of the year. So Dallas moved up to the top of the list, and Dallas got the first overall pick. Now, a couple years later, Ron Wolf's in charge, and he made the Favre trade, and we worked out well for both. And Troy has talked about it. He was not a good cold weather, bad weather quarterback. Green Bay, he said, it would have been rough for me. It would have been. I'm not a good bad weather quarterback.
Speaking of being rough, David, yesterday on the show, Rob Ellis came on, and you were talking about Andy Baskin, who was our 9 o'clock guest. And you said Andy was going to need a little therapy, being a Browns fan. Rob said, wait a minute. I need some therapy.
Which I don't understand. He's in Philly. What are you talking about? The Eagles turned 2-5 into a playoff spot.
Yeah, but I think anytime you're from Philly, you need a little therapy, David.
Oh.
But it's not just our guests that need therapy. Sometimes our listeners do, David.
Sometimes.
And someone hit the text line pretty hard, pretty early.
Wow.
With his concerns. And they are, concerns are legitimate, David.
Are they numerous?
No. One big concern, but however this text thing does it, it divided into a lot of messages.
Oh, so it's kind of like Twitter. It turned into a thread?
Right. It said, my girlfriend wants me to go to her cousin's chorus concert on Monday night at 8. I said no because the college football playoff is on and I have money on it. Not married. Shouldn't have to be roped into it. Have not heard from her since Wednesday night. Peace. Stand your ground.
Oh, I don't know.
First off, you're not married. And unless she's a gazillionaire, you don't go to this concert. You are doing just fine.
No. No, that's not necessarily the case.
It's only Friday morning. It's been 24 hours, really. You didn't hear from her on Thursday night.
He's already texting us for help. He's obviously not
doing
well.
Stay strong. Go Dogs. Go Roll Tide. Whatever one it is for you, sir.
Here's the deal. You can have money on the game. It doesn't mean you have to watch.
Yeah, but you start going to her cousin's chorus concert? This isn't her sister. This isn't her mom.
Bring the game with you on the phone.
At a chorus concert.
You can just sit there and watch it.
No volume.
Well, you could kind of plug into the side if you want.
No, you really can't. Not at a chorus concert.
I understand.
And if you're going to the cousin's chorus concert as the boyfriend, can you imagine what you're going to have to do as the husband? I think you cut bait right now and find someone new.
No, what are you talking about? No.
I'd dump her.
Listen, he's been without her for 24 hours and he's already shaking. Okay? A guy taking to our text line.
You should not have to be roped into this, sir. You are correct.
He hasn't been roped into anything. He was asked to attend.
He said no, and she's put him on the pay no mind list.
Yes, well, she's not happy. Apparently it's important to her. First off, here's another
How
reason.
much
Hold
are
on.
you out kicking the coverage by right now, sir?
Oh, that's a key question.
Thank you.
That is a key
Thank
question.
you. Do you feel as if you're out kicking the coverage with this lady?
Right. And I'm going to guess by the way you are. Okay. I am. Because for whatever reason, women are willing to settle for, I mean, we see it all the time. It's like, what are you doing with him? But anyway, I digress. I mean, the two of us, everybody in our life goes, what the heck? It's like, right time. I don't know what to tell you. She was weak.
Very.
Here's the deal. First off, the game's not starting at 8. I mean, that's another reason. How long is this concert? An hour?
Every bit of an hour.
Okay. They're not going to kick off.
Yeah, but
no, stop it. They're not going to kick off to like 8:20, 8:30. Half the concert is a win.
How long's the drive? And are you required to do anything after? Because you know what happens after these concerts? Hey, let's all go to Applebee's.
Well, no. And you say, hey, here's the deal. I'll go to the concert and then I got to watch the game. You want to go with them and eat and what have you, that's fine. I'm going home to watch the game.
Well, there's a TV at the restaurant.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't.
We'll get you a seat so you can see the
Not
game.
with volume. Hey, we're negotiating here. I will go to the concert. I am not doing anything afterwards.
If you go to this concert, you are roped into every single event for the rest of your life.
No,
Sir.
you're not. No, you're not. Besides, Mark, you're looking at it the other way. Once you become married, you can say yes or no to anything. I mean, it's done after that.
Yeah, the consequences are far more severe.
No, they're not. No, they're not. She can walk away from him right now.
And
Okay.
that's probably the best thing that could happen to him.
No, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not.
Now, is pulling up the game on your phone at the concert seen as disrespectful?
No,
Absolutely.
No, and that you negotiate that beforehand. You go, well, listen, I go, but I'm gonna watch the game on the phone.
See, here's the problem.
People that
but now the cousin's parents are going to be there, and they're going to be looking. Your boyfriend was watching the game the whole time.
Exactly.
You can't do that.
Sure, you
You've
can.
You've
David.
made a scene in front of the entire family that you really just showed up to sit and look at your phone. You can't do that.
Mark's convincing me.
Johnny Mac, don't miss the national championship to watch 11 kids playing plastic recorders.
Thank you. You know how bad this is going to be?
Chris says Mark's nailed it. You can't go. All right. Sonny says, I'm a Georgia fan. Stay home. If you're a Bama fan, go to the concert.
You've been there before. You'll be there next year.
All right. Vile 1 says, stand your ground or it won't end.
Telling you.
Art says, all right, David, in that case, you need to be going to an F1 race.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Wow. For
That's a
those who
good
don't
one.
know, David has nixed his chance of going to the F1 race because it's on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
not going to the race for his wife and his daughter,
Right.
not for his mom.
I mean,
What if you took your mom to the race?
well, my mother would love it.
That's what I mean. Fly her to Miami.
Actually.
We'll put a GoFundMe. Your miles have miles. Don't start with
I
me.
can't get my mother to visit me. Us.
She's not visiting you. She's going to an F1 race in Miami.
Probably have a better chance.
I'm telling you. What do you say, Mom? F1 in Miami, Mother's Day?
26 minutes before the hour. The starting 5 is next. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton. One dilemma after the other on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Orange Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home Training System. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistance band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So this was a texter.
Added a subscriber on this too. Only 5 views on Deets. Usually when that usually gets huge.
What?
That the person asking this question, the person that needs our help, is he a texter? Like
Texter, yeah.
Yeah, he's a texter. Okay.
I was talking to Buck yesterday because my Smiggy blew his knee out. My partner's done for the member guest. Got to have a total reconstruction.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
How
bummed.
the hell did he do that?
Fell on ice about a month ago.
Oh, wow.
He's had problems with it, and he dislocated again for like the 5th time, and then he was afraid that was going to happen. So I told Buck he's probably got to fill in on the member guest. He goes, God, what were you talking about the other day? I almost texted you. You were killing me. It was so funny. I'm like, fart in a bottle? He goes, yep, that was it. That was it. He goes, I almost drove off the road. I was laughing so hard.
So where do you want to do what with this? Because I think whoever starts it can either you either only do the first sentence, or you have to do the first 2, and the second sentence is when you spell it all out twice. And I don't care, but I'm just saying I think that it's either one sentence, then the next one does the other, or whoever starts it does the first 2 sentences. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was also, you don't necessarily have to read it script for script, because you can just do talking points too, is what she says on there. So if you want to just read the script, we can read the script.
Yeah, I just want to make it easy on us, to be honest with you. Not
Okay.
have to ad lib. Just, do we have the same script?
Yep.
Okay.
Mark, is it the one that you sent me yesterday, or this is a different one?
Totally different one.
This is DraftKings, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Did you read the New York Post about AB? They apparently got in touch with a woman who apparently had a huge sex romp with the night before the game.
Yeah.
She claims that this was all orchestrated by him, that he told her, hey, make sure you watch the game tomorrow and see what I'm going to do.
Wow. This is the same woman. She's an Instagram model.
Yes.
That licked the toilet
at
the start of the COVID-19 pandemic on an airplane.
Yeah.
That's just disturbing.
Well, it's AB. You didn't think
Right.
it'd be disturbing?
Of course, Have you two ever seen the movie Uncut Gems?
I have not.
Yes.
I want to.
You saw it,
That's the one with
Adam
Sandler and KG.
right?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Mark, you should watch that movie.
Yeah, I want to.
That's a
I
great
keep
movie.
forgetting to. I can watch that with my wife. She likes him, even though it's not a funny movie.
No.
It's probably Adam Sandler's best acting.
Well, yeah, they thought he was going to. There was a lot of talk he was going to get a shot for being nominated for an Academy Award for it.
He did well.
I think he got nominated for a Globe, maybe, or something like that.
5 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton and our friends at DraftKings want to bring their top-rated sports book to the state of Florida, but they can't do it without your help.
If you're a registered voter in the state of Florida, you need to go to FLEDchamps.com. FLEDchamps.com. That's FLEDchamps.com, and sign their petition to bring legal sports betting to the state of Florida.
And not only that, revenue generated from sports betting goes entirely to supplement public education funding in the state. That's $247 million annually to education funding in the state of Florida.
Let's help the people who help us. So go to FLEDchamps.com. That's FLEDchamps.com and get your petition today.
Paid political advertisement paid for in kind by DraftKings, Berkeley Street, Boston, approved by the Florida Education Champions. 18 minutes before the hour, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Mark. Number 1 is almost always the NFL. Little this, little that. Bucks officially released AB yesterday. 3 times now he's released a statement, talked about everything that's gone on. The Bucks addressed it yesterday. Arians saying, well, from my perspective, here's how it went down. And he used the colorful language that he told AB on the sideline in telling the story. And that was that. And needless to say, there's a canyon between one guy's story and the other's. Mark, the Jags apparently are going to interview, or at least they're going to try to interview 7 gentlemen for their head coaching job. They've already interviewed Doug Peterson, Todd Bowles, and Jim Caldwell. They are going to interview Green Bay offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett probably early next week, considering he'll have the week off because the Packers have the bye. Byron Leftwich is also reportedly going to interview. And the Jags have put in requests to interview both coordinators in Dallas and the defensive coordinator in Indianapolis. So actually, that would be 8 people potentially that the Jags are going to interview for the job, 3 of whom, Peterson, Bowles, and Caldwell, have already interviewed. Mark, I know how much you love spring football, and the USFL, which is kicking off on April 16th, announced 4 of their 8 head coaches yesterday. Todd Haley is the head coach of the Tampa Bay Bandits. Kevin Sumlin, the Houston Gamblers. Mike Riley, the New Jersey Generals. And Bart Andrus, the Philadelphia Stars. Your beloved Michigan Panthers, Mark, along with the Pittsburgh Maulers, Birmingham Stallions, and New Orleans Breakers, still do not have a head coach.
It's really going to cost them a lot of season tickets, David. The coach of a minor league football team is everything for the success and failure of a league. And if you don't spend a lot of money on a big-time coach, then this league will inevitably fail within a couple of weeks.
Don't laugh. I would have hired Spurrier if I was the Tampa Bay Bandits. If he would have done it, I would have hired him. And I'm not kidding. There's no joking involved there. I would have hired him. All right. Orlando was the best team in that spring league. I don't know. Tell you what, if you can guarantee him he would have gotten paid, I think there's a better than 50-50 chance. Then again, these days with these spring football leagues, that seems to be the toughest thing.
Unless you're paying them up front, there's no way to guarantee it in those leagues.
College football news. Mark, you're not going to believe this, but a whole bunch of people are transferring. Nick Calzada officially left A&M yesterday for Auburn. He's the young quarterback who engineered the upset of Alabama earlier in the season. The former SEC Freshman of the Year, Missouri quarterback Connor Bazelak, ends up in Indiana. TCU running back Zach Evans goes to Ole Miss. And a couple of guys expected to be first, no worse than early second-round picks. Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback LSU. He'll be a top 10, 12 pick. He went to the draft. And Michigan safety Dexter Dexton Hall, who's probably the second best safety in the draft. He could fall to early second round. He declared for the draft. Number 3 is college hoops. One upset, at least according to ranking. The Hoosiers got a nice home win against the Buckeyes yesterday. Ohio State was ranked 13th in the country, and they lost by 16 in Bloomington. Mark, I know everybody's talking up Purdue and even a few others in the Big Ten. Could the Big Ten team to beat be Wisconsin? They won at Purdue, and now they just whooped Iowa last night, 87-78. Both UCLA and USC, who had been shut down for a couple weeks, both got back in action last night and both won. USC is a perfect 13-0. They won their Pac-12 opener at Cal by 14 points. 15 is the number, Mark. 15 men's college basketball games postponed or forfeited.
Remember to get that forfeit in. You can't just go to the bottom of the scores page. You got to scroll through every score and find out the games that were listed as 2-0. It is appalling to the two of us.
Hate that these games are forfeited. There's going to be at least one team that's going to miss the NCAA tournament because they've got a loss or two that were forfeit losses because of COVID. It's ridiculous. I don't want to get everybody all concerned or anything, but the last time Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID, the world changed. And Rudy Gobert yesterday tested positive for COVID. Oh, by the way, 4 games in the NBA. The Knicks rallied from 25 down to beat the Celtics at the buzzer, 108-105. Mark, the Celtics have blown leads this year of 25, 19, 19, and 19.
That, if I were to do some research, that's probably not very good.
Things may be unraveling there. Now you got teammates publicly after this Knicks loss questioning the toughness of other teammates. First, Brad Stevens was coaching this mess. Now he's the general manager of this mess. It doesn't seem as if there's a whole lot they could do. It's either you're keeping the big two and changing everybody around them, or you're breaking up the big two. Right. And seems like it's plan A or plan B.
Well, and I think at some point they have to break up the big two because it really hasn't worked.
Oh, they're both so young and so talented, though, but it's not working. There's no doubt about it. No Steph, no Draymond Green. You would think that would be a problem, and it was. Golden State lost to New Orleans by 5. Phoenix, meanwhile, won by 17 over the Clippers. So the Suns now with the best record in the NBA by a game over the Warriors. And don't look now, but the Memphis Grizzlies have the 6th best record in the league, 4th best in the West. They've won 7 in a row. They beat Detroit by 30 last night. Thank you very much. NHL, whole bunch of games, 13 of them scheduled, 10 actually got played. Kucherov back for the Lightning, Mark. He chipped in with 2 assists to break open a third-period tie. Lightning a 4-1 winner over Calgary. Meanwhile, I'll say this. The Florida Panthers are the most exciting damn team in the league. I'm not saying they're the best. They're really good. I don't think they'll beat the Lightning in the playoffs because you know who's in nets for Tampa Bay. But the Florida Panthers are the most exciting team. A, they're really good, and B, they score a bunch of goals. Jonathan Huberdeau with the tying goal with under 30 seconds to go last night. They lost in a shootout to Dallas 6-5. But if you're paying your money, 6-5 shootout, and these guys deliver this product basically every night.
Every single night, they are a go-forward, aggressive, like to score, reminiscent of an 80s style hockey team. They are a lot of fun to watch.
They're not going to beat the Lightning.
No, they're not.
It's going to be a great series. Lightning are going to win in 7, but they are fun.
They could beat the Lightning.
No, they could.
Game one, you just run the goalie.
Well, it's just that's their only shot.
That's what I'd do.
I'm
telling you right now.
I don't know how you beat that guy.
There would be so much pressure going at that man.
I don't know how you beat that guy 4 times in 2 weeks. Vegas handled the Rangers 5-1. Nashville's 10-1-1 in their last 12. They doubled up the Kings 4-2. Don't look now, but Colorado's got it going on. They beat Winnipeg 7-1. And speaking of got it going on, the Penguins have won 10 in a row. Thank you. They went into Philly, beat the Flyers 6-2. Malkin hasn't played for him yet this year, and Crosby's just like their 6th best player, and they're on fire. Just going to throw this out there. The New York Times bought The Athletic for $550 million. The New York Times in the last 5 years has made a ton of money online. They have figured it out. They're like them, and then the Washington Post figured it out. There are a few major newspapers that have figured out how to make serious money online after the whole industry damn near went out of business. But it'll be interesting, Mark. You and I, both fans of The Athletic. They do high-quality, good work. No commercials, though. You pay a monthly subscription fee, and that's it.
That's over.
Well, probably.
Because that's where the Times has figured out how to make money. It's not on you and I. It's on the advertiser.
Well, and they're getting both.
But
okay, they're getting you to pay the $1 or whatever, and then, they're hitting you up for the ads that you must watch. PGA Tour season, at least the first tournament of 2022, if you will, got underway in Hawaii yesterday, Tournament of Champions. It's a par 73 course. That's awkward. Cameron Smith with an 8 under 65 is your leader. John Rahm, Patrick Cantlay, Daniel Berger, all a shot back. Phil didn't play that badly for him. He was 2 under. He's not last. In fact, he's far from it. Koepka 5 under, DeChambeau 4 under as they continue their little battle. And that's pretty much it. At 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
we'll say the only thing I will add is that Sam Webb, who is host of the Michigan Insider, reported yesterday that Harbaugh told a top signee of his plan to entertain NFL options.
Now, that doesn't mean he's going, but
No.
he's being honest with the recruit, saying, listen, if they call, I'm going to listen.
I give Jim Harbaugh
That's admirable.
a ton of credit for that.
Right. Being honest with you,
I'm going to listen.
Somebody calls offering the kind of coin that they offer.
I'd still think you should go to Michigan. It's going to be great for you.
Great school. And,
look at me. I went to Michigan. I'm about to make $10 million as a head football coach.
And you'll play for either Matt Campbell or Luke Fickell. And either way, you'll do well.
Right. We can get you to Sundays.
Yes.
And if by chance we don't get you to Sundays, trust me, the piece of paper from this place works. Our alumni have alumni that will hire you.
And not only that, Stephen Ross may bankroll us to the point where we could really stay elite. I mean, he's determined to get one of us elite, the Dolphins or the Wolverines, and my money's on us.
Yeah, because he can't seem to get anything right with the Dolphins.
No. But he did revamp that stadium, and Hard Rock Stadium's very nice. I love the comments in our Twitch chat room. PBR, Go Bandits, Klecko. Hope Jim Kelly's involved with the Gamblers in some way.
It is amazing the feel-goodness of the old USFL to so many people.
It worked.
You're one of them, too.
Yes, it worked. People, for whatever reason, the football was good enough. They loved the names. There were enough good players who went on to the NFL.
Oh, my first boss in hockey was a Tennessee native. Raves about the Memphis Showboats.
There you go. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan in an hour here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
See this? Two of the guys in our Twitch chat room. I had Bandit merchandise, and the other one, I sat behind the goalpost at the old Sombrero for the Bandit games.
Wow.
If you were Fox and you had a choice of one game, would you take Philly at Tampa, or would you take Arizona at Dallas?
Wow. I would probably take Philly at Tampa. I know the Cowboys are a big draw, but Arizona's a nothing draw. And I think the Philly Brady thing might be better.
I will say we did 28 million for that Arizona Dallas game last week, which is like a top 5 game of the year number.
Then you take Dallas, then I'm wrong.
Well, the Cowboys are, I will say, the Cowboys are Ohio State. They really are. Nobody rates like the Cowboys.
Then you just put them on.
Yeah, I think
Because
that's.
you can't give it away. If that's the case, you can't give it away.
I mean, I do think Fox is in a no-lose situation. You know, NBC will probably get one, and Fox will get the other. You're either getting the Cowboys or Brady. I mean, you know, you're going to have a good first week. To me, the real decision is, say the top 4 seeds win. Tampa at LA, Dallas at Green Bay.
Dallas at Green Bay. It's not close. It's not even close.
Think about that. You're willfully giving away Tom Brady.
Oh, take him. You know I'm right, too.
I know. And God,
it's Green Bay,
I know,
who must rate just a smidge behind Dallas.
Well, it's like I'm telling you, it's Green Bay's like maybe Alabama. I mean, there's a difference between Ohio State and Alabama.
Okay, but Green Bay's up there, though,
Green
right?
Bay is up there.
Because it's just a fan base. It's worldwide.
Well, and also the whole Lambeau Field playoffs. I mean, you know, you can get weather there.
Right.
I mean,
right. Well, you get weather in that. That game will do a monster number.
It would. Dallas at Green Bay would do, yes,
30 million.
Especially since there's a good chance it would be.
You'd 4 o'clock that on. Would that get to Sunday 4?
Well, that would either get Saturday at 8:30
or Sunday at 4?
or Sunday at
4,
4:25.
yeah.
I think there would be a lot of pressure since Green Bay had the bye. They probably want to put that game on.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Minute and a half into hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this first Friday of 2022. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Pat Kirwan, 1 hour from now. We've got 16 NFL games the last time this year that we can say that. By the way, 2 of them tomorrow. Just don't forget, in amongst your travels and travails and what you're doing, there's a doubleheader tomorrow. Both of them, by the way, on ABC/ESPN. That hasn't happened in a while. So, you pay about $3 billion a year in a new TV deal. They throw you a couple bones. I mean, not much more than that, but they give you a little something for the effort. So that's what the NFL is doing for the 4-letter network and Disney. So they get a doubleheader on Saturday, which means, by the way, Fowler and Herbstreit do one of the games, and then they turn around and do the national title game on Monday.
I think they did a great job with the Monday night game. I'm sure at one point they talked to them about doing it. I thought they were terrific when they did pro ball because they knew all the guys from college. So I thought they were fine doing NFL games. I think they'll be fine doing this. We'll be fine if you join us on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. That's how you can watch the show, join in on the conversation. You want to text the show, text FSN Radio. FSN Radio is the keyword to 21,000. FSN Radio to 21,000, anytime, any place, anywhere that you are, and you want to text the show. That is how you get in touch with us. We already have a poll question up today, David, and it is an early 50-50 split.
I like it. One of 2 dilemmas that we have begun the show with today. One a poll question, one came courtesy of the text line.
Yeah, if your team is not in the playoffs, do you want to play to win the game or lose for a better draft pick? Currently dead heat.
I voted win, by the way.
I voted lose. But I don't have a team.
Right.
I'm different.
Right.
I want the Lions to lose. If the Lions were my team, I would want them to lose. Hoping that Jacksonville could win. And you would get the first overall pick. But yes, early in the show, we had a gentleman text us who said his girlfriend is trying to drag him to her cousin's Christmas concert on Monday night at 8 p.m. First off, what are they doing with a Monday concert?
Well, also after Christmas. I mean, there are some even though I'm on the side of attending this little shindig with her, there are some problems here. I mean, January 10th seems a little late for a Christmas concert.
I told him flat out, this is a girlfriend. It's not a fiance. You are going down a rough road.
You did have a lot of questions, though. You did have a lot of questions. You wanted to know, hey, dude,
are you out kicking your coverage?
Right, dude, be honest with us. All right. How much out of your league is she?
Right. Are there initials in front of her name?
You also at one point wanted to know something about a bank account status. Was there money in the family?
Yeah,
I mean, you
is she
did
a
have a lot of
gazillionaire?
questions. But basically the premise is, hey, Monday's the national championship game. I've got a little money on it. This thing interests me. I have no interest really in going to this concert, but my girlfriend, and it kind of implies if you're asking your boyfriend to go to it implies you've been together a little while. I mean, if I were to guess how long they've been together, I would say at least like 8 months.
Well, they are at a point, obviously, if she hasn't talked to him when he said he wanted to watch football, that they are at a crossroads, in my opinion.
Well, that's true. She clearly is thinking that this relationship has legs.
And so if he can't watch the national championship game You think he's going to be able to hang out the Thursday and Friday of March Madness and watch hoop for 2 days? I don't.
Maybe she's proud of him. Maybe she wants to showcase him for the family. All right. I mean, there are a lot of questions here. Did you get out of doing the holidays with her and the family? So is this like you being introduced to everybody in a casual setting? I mean, I do have a lot of questions here.
And he disappeared from us after the barrage of texts.
I know.
Because
come on, sir.
There's a chance that she was listening.
She's not listening. She's not even talking to you. You think she's listening to the stations that you listen to?
I know
she only tolerates our voices 2 days ago because she was fond of you then. She's not fond of you right now. All right? She's angry with you. I will say, if today goes by with no contact, I mean, it's easy. It really is. It's easy to go a day without talking to the special someone in your life.
Well, and now it's the weekend.
Well, that's what I mean.
We're 24 hours away from making happen.
Well, potentially. Okay. And certainly when you're dating.
Right.
All right. Right.
Well,
but
this is the weekend. This is go time when you're dating.
Sure. Absolutely. And, probably had plans this weekend of some kind.
He did.
But then again, there are 2 NFL games Saturday, Mark. So I don't know. All right. But I mean, there are a lot of questions here that we would like answers to. I'm on the side of, come on, it's do it, go. Besides, half the concert, the game won't even have started yet. The score at the end of the first quarter is going to be 7-3.
I think the question is right now, who has hand in the relationship? Because
obviously she does right now.
I don't think so.
I think so. Okay.
I think here's the problem. She might. He thinks he does.
Oh, no, he thought he did. 24 hours later of silence, he's now realizing, wow, this thing could turn on a dime. I mean, he's already panicking. He reached out to us. I mean, that's already a bit of a panic move.
I think he was looking for confirmation from me. I think he knows deep down that this is the end.
He got it from you. You're like, stand your ground.
Kick her to the curb.
Unbelievable. Kick her to the curb. I'm like, come on.
Plenty out there.
It's an hour. You can bring the phone with you. You can sneak little glances. You do say to her, we're not going to Applebee's afterwards, though. I'm not doing the family thing afterwards. I'll do it. It's nice. It was nice to meet you. No, I got to get up early. Okay. I work the whole deal. I'm a responsible adult. And then you get the heck out of there. If you want to go to Applebee's with them, they can drop you off.
You can't play responsible adult when you're going to watch a football game that's going to go on until damn near 1 a.m.
Hey, I'm here at the damn cousin's Christmas concert. I can play the responsible adult card. All right. I don't have to have bells on. I don't have to wear a Christmas sweater, but I'm here.
I will say the only thing I've thought of in retrospect, David, that I will say you could go, if there is one relative that's a football fan, if he's been in this relationship long enough to know that perhaps the girl's dad is into the game,
right?
That you can be. I happen to, when the Pistons were really good is when I graduated high school. And my high school baccalaureate, they were playing against the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Championship, much to the chagrin of every guy who was graduating who wanted to watch the game. Well, in our school, the juniors kind of had to run all these events. And we had juniors who were simply in charge of listening to the transistor radio and give us update on scores throughout that long ceremony.
Very important.
He could use these type of things to really endear himself to her family if there are other football fans involved.
Exactly. You shake the hands of all the gentlemen. He goes, very nice to meet you. 10-7 Alabama in the second.
Yeah.
Okay, right. You just keep waking your way down the line. Hi, Mom. Nice to meet you. I can see where she gets her looks from. Dad, nice. 7-3 Georgia, just so you know. You haven't missed much. Yep. So that's all. Poll question. Your team's out of the playoffs. Do you want them to win because, well, they're playing a division rival and you hate them? And besides, I want my team to win all the time, no matter what. Or, heck no. I'm already looking ahead to the draft and free agency. Lose, better draft pick. That's where I'm at. And the Dolphins were the inspiration for this question, at least for me. Here they are, 8-8, winning season. The hated Patriots, chance to sweep them. They got a young quarterback. We got a young quarterback. Buffalo's got a young quarterback. Jets have a young quarterback. Got to put your stake in the ground here, baby. We're all going to be going after each other like cats and dogs for the next however many years. Not giving away a division game. Heck with that.
And there are so many of those.
Yeah.
I mean, there really are. There's some downright hatred that's going to be played on Sunday.
Ask a Falcons fan. You're out of the playoffs. All right. It would improve your draft position. No doubt about it. There's a bunch of teams with 8 wins. Bunch of them. All right. You win. All of a sudden you finish 8-9. You don't want that. You lose, fall to 7-10. That's valuable draft position.
10 spots.
But you
got a
got
difference of 10 spots.
But you got to lose to the Saints. You hate the Saints.
And the Saints could qualify for the playoffs by beating you. And
right.
It's twofold. You win, you definitely knock them out of the playoffs. They have no chance to qualify for the postseason.
And you finish technically ahead of them in the division. That's the other thing.
Which gives you a tougher opponent next year, theoretically.
It does.
I mean, there's a lot about losing. We got a lot of losses.
So, it's things like that. Like if you're the Jags fan.
There you go.
Would you surrender, win an upset of the Colts? And by the way, that would put Baltimore, Pittsburgh, potentially even the loser of the Raiders Chargers. One of those 3 teams would get in the playoffs if you were to beat Indianapolis. Show some damn pride, win a game, or lose and guarantee the first overall pick. Because if you win, it'll probably cost you the first pick of the draft.
Right, because then you ended up with the best quarterback and you end up with the best defensive player in 2 years.
So do you want to win or no? It's all about the draft, man. We're out of the playoffs. I'm already looking ahead. That's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter. Make sure you go there and vote. We're going to be unveiling a website here soon. We're going in one place. You're going to be able to go for everything. All right. It's a hot steaming deal. New affiliates, new site. You and I are going to have no idea what to do with ourselves. This whole streamlining, professionalizing of the show. What the heck? We didn't get into this for that.
No, we really didn't.
No, we're used to being an unmade bed.
2 guys wearing college T-shirts.
Well, that's unfair because I always wear a collared shirt, but I have to do laundry. Okay, and I'm out.
I never wear a collared shirt.
Never.
I wear a T-shirt every day.
I know you do. I always wear a collared shirt. It's like the first time in months I haven't worn a collared shirt.
I try to wear a team collared shirt or team T-shirt as much as possible. Go Pirates today, the Fighting Doolies today.
Of East Carolina. By the way, RCB in our Twitch chat room says he should go, but then say to her, hey, you owe me one. That I would not advise. You never point it out. You shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have to.
Right. Besides, she'll be very happy that you went. All right. I mean, she'll snuggle up real close on the walk to the car afterwards. It's a chance for a really good week.
And if she doesn't know that she owes you one, then I was right in the first place.
Not that people keep scoring a relationship or anything. Not that we're implying such a thing takes place. 14 minutes after the hour. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Orange Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home Training System. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistance band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
There you go. Look at this. This is so good.
This is so good.
Man.
Kid should have had it there.
Yeah, he should have. And the other kid
Oh.
should have had it. That's beautiful.
Outdoor rinks are so cool.
Yeah, they are.
They really are.
It's a fairly pretty goal. How about that? And it makes his NHL debut in Boston. He grew up 30 miles from there. Scores a goal.
Oh, awesome.
That was a bullshit check. Come on, you can't hit him. Come on, dude, especially in the regular season. Come on.
He didn't have to finish it. He could have run into him because he'd already committed. He could have run into him and not thrown that. You know what I mean?
You guys got to take care of each other a little bit here, especially on a Thursday in January. I mean,
5 years. Oh, mid 2021, known her for about 5 years.
Oh. Yeah, they've been dating about 8 months, 6, 8 months.
Kick her to the curb. Let's see how nice this guy is. I can find out right now. 610 area code. Oh, he's Pennsylvania kid. He's your part Pennsylvania though.
Scranton?
Well, eastern, southeastern.
Oh yeah, it's Philly.
Philly, yeah, he's Philly. Yeah, he's. Halloween's still a really big deal at ECU. But nothing's quite the same as it once was.
It's an interesting outfit that Nicole has on there. It looks like she's wearing
A winter jacket.
A winter jacket, not a
winter jacket.
Yeah.
And it does scream, look at my cleavage.
She looks like a super villain.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Married to a NASCAR driver.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I think I have Truex's number.
1 minute.
I put in credentials for us for Daytona.
Ooh. What about the F1 race?
No.
$30 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. only on the Florida Sports Network.
"20 minutes after the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL at the top of the hour. Two dilemmas. That's really the focus of the show so far. We'll get into week 18 of the NFL here shortly. But our poll question is, so you're a fan of an NFL team that's out of the playoffs. What are you rooting for this weekend? A, to win. We're playing a division rival because everybody plays a division rival the final week of the season. And I want to beat them. I want to win. Herm Edwards was right. You play to win the damn game. Or, no, man, I want to lose. Better draft position. Already looking ahead to 2022.
And we've picked out a couple of, Dolphins, Patriots is where David's inspiration for this came from. But there are a lot of hatred.
Yeah, Eagles, Cowboys, they're both already in the playoffs. They hate each other. I think there's no chance of them playing next week in the first round of the playoffs. So, you're an Eagles fan. I mean, come on, you got to be rooting to beat the Cowboys.
Oh, of course they are, but that doesn't even really apply because their draft status doesn't matter until next week. But Pittsburgh and Baltimore certainly does.
Right, because the likelihood is we think Indy's going to win in Jacksonville, which eliminates both the Steelers and Ravens. So then it becomes a pride game.
And this person says, well, the Finns traded away their first rounder, so beat the Pats. Yeah, that's fine. But the difference is between maybe pick 42 and 54 in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, 8-9, 8-1, 9-8. There's going to be a lot of teams there. And right now the Dolphins are at the very top of the 8-9 list.
But we didn't even think of this, David. We didn't even bring this game up really as bitterness. As Scotty tweets at me, as a Texan fan, I want my team to win this week only to ruin the life for the Texans or for the Titans. And he has in parentheses, leaving ass Oilers. I'm not bitter.
Oh, that's right. The Tennessee Titans used to be the Houston Oilers.
Right.
The Houston Oilers. The Houston Oilers.
Number one. The real fight song.
Right.
Ooh.
Oh, it gets Dolph fans all upset. You
Right
insinuate
now,
that Houston had it first.
Right now, David, play to win the game, garnering 57% of the vote.
Don't worry, the draft will make a strong run here. We'll make a strong run. People love themselves the draft. There's always a second wave to voting, Mark. Always a second wave.
We did get some answers from the gentleman who texted in looking for a little advice.
This is the other dilemma that has been a theme on the show so far this morning.
He's been dating her for 6-7 months.
And that's valuable information that we just garnered out of him.
Known her for about 5 years.
Okay, so,
So this is a friend that became a girlfriend.
Right. So they've,
This is a longer term relationship.
Right.
And he said he will be following up with us next week. We appreciate that.
Right. Right now, I think he's following your lead. It sounds
he's holding firm.
It sounds like he's following your lead and he's not attending the girlfriend's cousin's Christmas chorus event.
Right, which is on Monday at 8. But right now he is, I believe, trying to channel his inner George Costanza where he believes he has hand. And the question becomes whether it's Friday night or Saturday night if he has to use it. And that's where the breakdown comes.
Yeah, I don't think he has hand.
No. He thinks he
does.
No,
I know that. And what I'm just trying to say, he's obviously listening. He's responding to our text. And what I'm trying to say is, sir, you may be following Mark's lead and you may think he is more right in this. And you may be right. But I'm telling you, you don't have hand. But you may have to use it. Hello. Monday is the national championship game. That's why this guy's dilemma. You know what's not a dilemma? Ticket buying. New Year's Eve morning, when there was a chance Michigan was going to be in the game, and the game's in Indianapolis, the heart of Big Ten country, they do, after all, most years have the Big Ten championship game in Indy. $1,314 was the average cheapest ticket on the secondary market. New Year's Eve morning, $1,300 to get a ticket. You and your buddy, $2,600. That doesn't include getting there and putting yourselves up.
Not even parking, David.
Great thing about Indianapolis is you can walk. It is a great walking city.
I'm just having a little fun with
I know. Well,
with
you
Mr.
know,
I hate to pay to park.
how much to park? That's outrageous. You paid $4,000 for these tickets? I'm not paying $20 to park. Mark, a week later, what could change in a week? Well, I'll tell you what could change in a week. About $900 off the secondary market average ticket price. $424, $890 less 1 week later, and it is going down by over 100 a day.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to get tickets for face value or less by the time this kicks, David.
I don't know what face value is. I want to assume about $150
Somewhere in there.
for, maybe
For
100,
nosebleeds.
maybe 100 for upper deck, something like that. Anyway, it was $1,300 a ticket before Michigan played Georgia. After Georgia won, almost $500 came off the average ticket price. Boom, just like that. And then it's basically been, I don't know, about 100 a day, but it went down 100 the next day. And then it was down 200 4 days later. And it went down $107 yesterday. $424 and going downward. What do you think? 2.25 come Monday? You and 3 of your buddies be able to get in there probably $800. National title game come Monday.
Yeah, the cheapest ticket on the secondary market was in 2019 for the Bama Clemson game. Those were about $202 by the time it said. This will be close to that. It'll be $300 by the time you'll be able to get in for $300.
Now remember, it's these rematches and these all SEC games in which dramatic change has ended up happening in the sport. It all started 10 years ago with the LSU-Alabama rematch. We went from 2 to 4. Now here we are 10 years later. We've got Alabama-Georgia. And sure enough, beginning tomorrow, the powers that be are meeting in Indianapolis.
And it's funny, looking through some of these secondary ticket articles, David, that it's all the Michigan side, as you mentioned, but the Georgia people aren't buying them right now. I mean, that's the other part of this. The Alabama people have already bought their tickets.
Well, yeah.
They bought them in August.
Right. Honey, we got to work it into the budget. Oh, that's right. Where's the title game this year?
No, they don't have to work it into the budget. It's part of the budget.
Honey, you're not going to believe this. We're going to have to go north. What? Indianapolis.
Well,
where's that?
Just take 65.
That's Big Ten country.
About a couple hours north of Nashville. We go up to Nashville every year. Go down Broadway. Go to Kid Rock's bar.
Georgia's still a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Kid Rock's bar.
Sorry. Had a little fun with the Alabama fan there. I just couldn't help myself.
Where Steve Day said yesterday, the Bubba the Love Sponge.
Booster, yes.
FSN Radio is how you can text the show. If you never have before, text FSN Radio to 21,000. FSN Radio to 21000. Feel free to join us. Follow us. Subscribe to us. The Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. You get to see the show. Most importantly, you get to catch all our interaction during the commercial breaks. We do not have a Felipe cam. You get to hear from Felipe, but you do not get to see the young lad. Occasionally, we will turn the camera from our studio onto him. What usually ends up happening is almost once a show, he feels the need to strut, kind of like Travolta down the streets of New York, and he will saunter over to our studio and perform for about 8 to 10 seconds.
He's RTO. I don't know if he's
Right.
got that talent level yet.
He doesn't. Not yet. Too young. And goodness knows there's no Jerry Rice sitting on this side of the studio.
No.
So it's not a young T.O. with the Niners. I think it's T.O. with the Eagles. That's what I told him the other day. You remind me of T.O. He just looked at me and I said, you love me some me.
By Friday, he feels beat down.
Well, he's tired. He did oversleep. All right.
He hit it hard last night. It was Thursday. He was probably with the college kids at the bars.
Apparently played 117 pickup basketball games yesterday. Went like 115-2. So, and we found out huge trash talker, which doesn't surprise the two of us at all, but it's a whole reverse psychology trash talking.
I am going to show up at the court without him knowing, just to watch. Because I know where he plays. I got a pretty good idea. It's one of two places, and I think I could get in where he wouldn't see me for a while. And just maybe get some video for us, David.
Apparently, Felipe is the positive reinforcement guy on the court, but it's not genuine.
It's all sarcasm.
Right.
And I'm not surprised in the least bit.
And while I'm doing it, well, yesterday at least, just because I didn't want to wear a hat because my hair was all messed up, I was wearing a headband.
So would you look like David Lee out there with your big curly fro?
I was like...
And a headband?
I was like Mike Bibby with a full head of hair.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Pat Kirwan, 30 minutes from now on the Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, isn't this cool?
Man, was that Isaiah? That Isaiah Mobley can hoop.
Marines with jetpacks. That's reasonably cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Out in the ocean flying onto a carrier.
Oh, I've seen that
off
video.
Of an amphibian boat onto a ship. Okay.
An amphibian boat? You mean he's amphibious?
Thank you, Mr. Shackleton.
Hey, his nephew is committed to FGCU.
That's right. You told me that.
He's killing it. I think he's at a JUCO. He's playing 1 year at a JUCO. He had 31 the other night.
For the JUCO?
Yeah. He's killing it.
Yeah.
When do they play next? Saturday?
They're on the road. And Jacksonville's got COVID. They're hoping to play the game Sunday. Jacksonville's missed like the last week and a half. But they're not home until a week from Saturday. They got Liberty, doubleheader, the 15th.
Ooh.
Problem is, it's first day of the NFL playoffs.
What time? Girls first?
Yeah. But that's the first playoff game.
I just wanna
DC.
see them play.
I think Jimmy Butler is another.
What? Huh?
No, I'm talking to DC.
Oh.
I think Jimmy Butler is another good comparison. I mean,
What, you?
oh yeah, love
Stop.
Jimmy. Love Jimmy.
Stop.
First of all, Jimmy Butler's not out there complimenting anybody, though.
Well,
Your
right.
whole reverse psychology
No,
thing.
but I will say I'm Jimmy Butler with my teammates. I'll be like, "What the hell was that, man?"
teammates.
Yes,
In a pickup game.
with my teammates. I love basketball. Basketball is hilariously awesome. Do I wear
I gotta
NBA
take 'em off
jerseys to
again.
pick up games? I have, but like no, no, I don't. It's just not comfortable.
So you haven't worn your LeBron Lakers jersey to a pickup game?
Of course I have. Are you kidding me? With the headband as well.
Unbelievable. God, I would just want to elbow you in the
Of
face.
course. And then, you know what I'm doing, right? The triple threat where he goes like this.
Oh, jeez.
The jab step.
I swear. I hate the people who take pickup games seriously, but you would get under my, I would elbow you in the face.
We play like full court 5-5.
Of course you do. That's what pickup basketball is.
Right.
What world do you live
Well,
in?
but also you're young. You can play full court, you know.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I'm hesitant to say where I play, but do you know where I play?
Mark does.
Mark seems to think that he knows.
Yeah, Private San Carlos at the park there on Three Oaks or on campus.
Where on campus?
You play in that outdoor thing right in front of Alico?
No.
Okay, then where?
I play at the new rec center.
Oh.
Great courts. Great balls too. They're called the Rock. New York balls.
So you just play against college kids. You don't play against basketball players.
Right.
Well,
You're not even playing on a real court.
It's a hardwood floor.
No. That's what I mean. You're playing against a bunch of college kids.
Right.
You're not playing against real basketball players. You're not going to a pickup.
Well,
court,
I mean,
pickup
the kids
basketball.
that go are like regulars.
Did you play high school ball?
Yeah. And most of the kids that go also did. And, they interview.
He doesn't understand what I'm saying.
We
Real basketball players. Real basketball
like
players.
men? I mean, I've played with men before also.
Yeah, I'm saying go to one of the parks where actually good ball players.
Oh, I mean,
play.
we do sometimes. I'm saying it's close. And it's
Oh, yeah.
close
Klecko.
proximity.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. We all, yeah, that's ridiculous. So YMCA ball, is that basically what you're playing?
No, it's not. No, it's not even that. YMCA ball is good basketball.
No.
People that can't go to, that don't go to college that are athletes show up at a Y.
I wish you could understand this reference, but it's literally just like NBA 2K, the park. Like you go online.
No,
and
it's
you go to
not.
The park.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Hey,
not.
I got next.
Because in the park, anybody can show up. You
Right,
have to be an FGCU student to show up in this building. You can't.
No, you can come as a guest.
How many guests are there?
Come on. How many people show up at the rec center?
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Pat Kirwan, all things NFL coming up at the top of the hour. 2 games tomorrow, both on ABC/ESPN. Cowboys and Mahomes. That's what they were given. Dallas at Philly. Home team's a 5-point dog. Chiefs at Broncos. Home team's an 11-point dog. 9 of the 16 games, the home team is an underdog. Jacksonville's a 15-point home dog.
Right. Against a team that they don't lose to at home.
Right. They've won, 7 in a row?
I think it's 6, but yeah.
15 points. Texans are a 10-point dog. Tennessee could have a really good weekend. Just play along with me at home. Burrow's not playing for Cincinnati. A couple of other guys are not playing. The Browns are a 6-point favorite.
Right.
And that's with them with their backup quarterback. But that's how many people are missing the game for Cincinnati. The Bengals, having won the division, they're going to be either the 3. Technically, they could be the 2 if the Chiefs lost and they won. They could move up. But right now, Cincy's the 3 seed. But if they lose and Buffalo wins at home against the Jets, where they're a 16-point favorite and they're expected to win, then Buffalo would move up to the 3 and Cincy would fall down to the 4. Well, think about it. If you're Tennessee, talk about even a little more importance about being the 1. Home field, get the bye to allow Henry to get healthy, along with, A.J. Brown and others who have been nursing injuries. And then in theory, the Bills and the Chiefs have to play in the division round, a 2-3
Right.
matchup.
The teams that you think are the
heavyweights.
The heavyweights. Well, you think you're the heavyweight. We can't go by what the media thinks. You think you're the heavyweight because you're the one. But you obviously think that the next two teams, the teams that have been there, done that, are Kansas City and Buffalo, and they're going to have to play one another. Absolutely.
I mean, look, come on now. We're all trying to have the easiest road possible. If you're Tennessee, wouldn't you rather bye and then play the Bengals or if the Patriots? Because right now we're assuming the Patriots are going to be the 5. And so then, either they go into Cincy and win in the scenario that we laid out.
Well, and the other side of this too is
win,
that
you get the Bengals.
I mean, and then the greatest scenario is that, hey, somebody beats a 2 or a 3, or somehow, Cincinnati ends up playing to Kansas City or a Buffalo because someone was upset. Yeah, there's everything about being the one is there, and everything how this could break down is there because Cincinnati has basically thrown the towel in week 17.
So, it could be a significantly easier road to only have to play either the Chiefs or Bills, as opposed to right now, the way it is seated, Buffalo is the 4, and the Titans' reward for being the 1 is to get the Bills in the division round, and then in theory, get the Chiefs the next round. That would seem to be the hardest road possible to get to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
So little things like that are what's at stake here. In the NFC, I keep thinking, Mark, the Bucs are going to get the Eagles either way. Now, I understand there's a scenario where they don't. But like right now, it's kind of weird. Technically, Philly's the 7, even though they're in, and San Francisco's the 6, even though they're not.
Here, let me just, do you think that how do you think the Rams-Niners games goes?
I think the Rams win, finally. They've lost 5 in a row to the Niners.
Is there a reason why? Because they've got their number, but is there something about, you're doing this game, you're paying attention, you've done your research. So is there something injury-wise? Is there somewhere that...
Well, I would like to think that Trey Lance is not ideal for the Niners starting. And that's, during this 5-game winning streak, it's been Jimmy G just about every game.
Right.
So I would like to, because I think Lance is going to end up playing, and I would think that that's an advantage for the Rams. He's talented, but obviously he's not ready yet. If he was, he'd be the starter.
No, I know. And at the end of the day, I want to see if they can just stop what it is the Niners do. Run it all over the place. Run it with wide receivers. Run it with quarterbacks. Run it with every one of their running backs. Let's see the Rams stop them.
And the Rams, since losing 3 in a row, have obviously been playing much better everywhere. Not just Stafford in the offense and Odell really fitting in well and replacing Robert Woods and all that, but defensively, they've raised their game. The front, where they've spent their money and their resources, is playing as advertised.
All right.
Which, by the way, do you then, if I'm right, and the Rams finally beat the Niners, first time in 3 years, it means the Saints with a win are in. Do you if I'm right and the Niners lose, will the Niners be in or out?
I think they'll be out because I think Atlanta will win. Atlanta, despite being a terrible team, has seemingly played hard every week.
Well, then you think the Niners will be in.
I think the Saints lose. Sorry. I think Atlanta beats the Saints. I think the game doesn't mean 0, obviously, because it can change seeding and all of those things, and it's incredibly important for the Bucs. But I think Atlanta beats the Saints. That old adage of winning on the road has not been as dramatic in the last decade as it was
for a long time.
What it seemed like ever. And this is the Atlanta Falcons' rival. This is the team they hate about.
No doubt.
This is this is hatred.
Atlanta went into New Orleans one earlier in the year, so that would be a season sweep. And for the most part, you and I don't bet on sweeps. We bet on splits in doubleheaders and in divisional opponents in the NFL playing one another. We bet on splits. So in If you believe in that, then you think the Saints are going to go in and get a split and they'll win. And if the Rams beat the Niners, it means the Niners would be out. Philly would be the 6, by the way, in that scenario, because they beat the Saints head-to-head, even if the Eagles were to lose Saturday to the Cowboys. If Niners lose, Saints win, Saints are in, Saints are the 7. And in that scenario, then if Niners losing, that means the Rams won, the Rams are the 2, and it means that the Rams would play the Saints, and it means that the Bucs would get the Eagles in a 3-6 matchup.
Obviously, the dream for the Bucs is win and get the 49ers to win.
Yeah, then you're the 2. Congratulations. And you'll play Philly. Guaranteed. Niners win, Philly's the 7. And you host the Eagles. And then you'd host the winner of Rams-Niners. They'd play in back-to-back weeks. Niners shaking their hand, walking off the field. See you next week, boys.
Well, would that be the 3-4 game or 3-6 game?
3-6.
You wouldn't play the winner of that. You'd play the Rams if they won.
That's what I said. The Niners would play the Rams.
Right, but the Bucs wouldn't get the winner of that game.
Well, okay, that's true. I'm counting on the 3 winning, but
right.
that's true. It's potentially they could get the winner of the 4-5 game. But they'd host it either way.
Yeah, they'd host. That would be the biggest thing, is that they would host 2 games.
And with them finishing the season at home, it'd be a nice little run here for the Bucs where they could play 3 straight home games.
I had to laugh. My ticket rep called me because I had a new credit card since the last time I gave them money. And it didn't go through. Something happened. And so she called me and just talking to the ticket department in Tampa. And she was like, man, she just kind of laughed. I said, oh, yeah, I got to get you that card. We want to use that a lot. She was, it's so funny. People saying, please charge my card, charge it again. What a difference a couple of years makes. Couldn't find a season ticket holder. And now people are just willingly handing over cards. Charge it whatever you need. Please charge it more and more.
Gut feeling, by the way, last game for Vic as head coach of the Broncos, win or lose?
I think it is, and I don't know if it's deserved.
I agree with both sentiments. I will say he has not fixed the offense. It's a very legitimate point, but this will be 4th straight losing season for the team, his 3rd straight losing season, I believe.
Is he picking the quarterbacks?
Not this time around, because the new GM brought in Teddy Bridgewater, who, by the way, is on IR, so he's definitely not playing. And I don't see where the young kid from Missouri is shown enough where he's the future.
But, I mean, he wasn't responsible for drafting him. That's the only, fix the offense. Right. He's not the one that got you 2 bad quarterbacks.
I don't know that they're bad quarterbacks. They just may not be good. And I think you know what I'm getting at there.
I got you. Teddy's not a bad quarterback. I don't know if, I know you like Drew Lock in college and you said he can spin it, and I trust your eyes for what you see, but something's not there.
Well, it hasn't been. And Denver can't afford to put all their chips in his basket, that's for sure. He'll be a very cost-effective backup next year for a veteran quarterback. I would think one of the big 2 ends up in Denver. Between Russ and Aaron, I think one of them is going to end up in Denver. I do think the Broncos are willing to pay the price also to bring whoever's necessary. But you wonder, coaches playing their last. I mean, how ironic would it be? Nagy could finish with a 3-game winning streak. Fields looks like he's going to be out, by the way. It was just placed on the COVID list. Now, there's a chance if he's vaccinated, he can still pass 2 tests and he could play Sunday against the Vikings. But I mean, how ironic would it be? Nagy's going to get fired, winning like 4 of his last 6 and 3 in a row.
Yeah, and Bears fans are not very happy about the fact that Fields with the COVID. They want to see him play.
Sure.
Just want to see him play, get a game under his belt.
I will say this. He is responsible for a ton of turnovers this year. I mean, a staggering amount of turnovers that all of the Fields fans, and most of us are, but I mean, we are all overlooking the fact that he's been responsible for well over 2 turnovers a game. I mean, he's got a fumbling problem.
Well, and that's, me, David, the interceptions for young quarterbacks, I could not care less about the interceptions. The fumbles, the Tua fumbles, the Fields fumbles, those things concern me more than the picks for the young quarterback. Because I think as they learn, the picks are going to go away. But if you fumble once, you fumble all the time. That doesn't seem to, that very rarely is a problem that goes away, David.
Do you think Brian Flores needs to win to keep his job?
No. Well, no, unless Jim Harbaugh is really serious about returning to the NFL.
Well, he's serious about listening.
And if he's going to listen, you would think Stephen Ross is going to ask. He asked before. And if Jim's actually going to leave Ann Arbor, I would think Stephen Ross is going to at least try to put a piece of paper in front of him at some point.
If the Niners lose and miss the playoffs, you think Shanahan's in trouble? They would finish with a winning season. Lynch and Shanahan seem to be tied at the hip.
I don't think so, because I don't think Lynch would be done. I think they'd be given one more year. I think the point that you just made is the biggest one, David. They're tied at the hip. And I just don't know how they get rid of one without getting rid of the other.
Did you hear about the little brouhaha yesterday in Cleveland? Mary Kay Cabot, highly respected member of the local media, she put out a story on Cleveland.com that basically said, yeah, Mayfield and the head coach have problems. They not on the same page, not communicating well, and Baker needs to get it fixed in order to come back. That it's so bad that the Browns may just move on from him after this year, which is not as easy as it sounds, because they did pick up his option. It's fully guaranteed. It's over $20 million. I mean, that's not that easy to A, eat, B, unload. I mean, coming off this year, who's going to want Baker Mayfield?
Well, David, now my dream scenario is coming true when Baker becomes a Detroit Lion, because much like in giving Jared Goff to the Lions, they had to give what to the Lions? A draft pick. If you're going to take Baker's salary, you're going to get compensated for it. Did we not see that for the first time last year?
Yes. I mean, the Rams, please.
The second first-round pick was to take Jared Goff off of their hands.
Please, take it off my hands. Thank you very much. So Baker immediately takes to Twitter and says to Mary Kay, listen, you and the local media, I'm paraphrasing here. I'm tired of you guys making your living spreading crap about me. This is false. This is clickbait. Enough already. And I will say that the offensive coordinator was asked about it as well yesterday, and he goes, I haven't seen any problems between the two. Now, what's he going to say, right? But Mary Kay Cabot's a Hall of Fame voter. She's a highly respected member, probably the most respected beat person on the Browns.
I've had her on this show plenty of times. She's good at what she does. It's not what she's ever been about. She's not been a clickbait person.
Not at all. It was a fascinating report and response by Baker yesterday.
Look, I know you're one that says run to the mountain and express your truth. I don't know if running to Twitter is the way to solve arguments in the National Football League for a quarterback.
If what she said is a lie, though, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. I don't blame them. It's just that nobody thinks Mary Kay Cabot is in the business of spreading garbage.
And it's not the first time that Baker's run just to spew words that aren't necessarily the truth.
Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio, will join us next here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Raritan, New Jersey is about 30 minutes from where I grew up. Kind of
Portnoy
north
did a
central.
Barstool pizza review of DeLuca's Brick Oven Pizza and gave it a 9.4. For him to give a 9, like, I'm not joking, like an 8.8 is like the New Haven joints get like 8.8 and 8.9s that are supposedly the best pizza in the world. So that's cool.
Oh! Oh.
This is a great selfie. That's awesome.
Oops.
Holy Toledo. That's a
The Knicks don't have a team capable of going deep in the playoffs.
No, but
Not at all.
But anybody who thought that they did was crazy. I mean, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I mean, first off, I didn't totally agree with bringing it back.
Like the same team from last
Yeah.
year.
I mean, that team overachieved, and
Yeah. They peaked too early.
well, no,
No, because imagine if they were like this last year and then they were like last year, this year.
right, which is ideal.
Right.
The Knicks are going to have to. They do have a lot of pieces that they can trade, though. I mean, if Leon Rose does his job well, they could be in really good shape. They have a ton of first-round picks. Beginning next year, they have some cap room again. I mean, stuff can be, and they have pieces that can be given up to acquire big salary players.
Yes. They just need to land the big fish, which they haven't been able to do.
Well, I mean, Dame's got to get traded here. I mean, come on.
That's what I'm saying. Either that or Philly. Dame and Joel would be dangerous.
Yeah.
That would be something. Like finals bound, probably.
There is that team in Brooklyn,
Yeah, but their one weakness is themselves and staying healthy, which they're not really that great at doing. So anything could happen. 10 seconds. Every NBA
Pat,
champion.
have you called Pat?
Holy shit.
I will say, she didn't write the headline, but they basically, she just knows.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
For those of you in the 239, we are halfway home on this Football Friday. And for those in Tampa, St. Pete, it is the final hour of Miller and Moulton, not just for today, but for the week. We thank you for joining us here on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Text the show, whatever's on your mind. You have a question for Pat Kirwan, who will be joining us momentarily. Send it to us at FSN Radio to 21,000. If you are among the masses watching on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, feel free to chime in the Twitch chat room. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. He works weekday afternoons on NFL Radio, co-hosting Moving the Chains. He also does the Saturday show for that matter. And on Sundays, well, he's helping out on CBS with their NFL Today show. He is one Pat Kirwan, who joins us courtesy of Pinchers once again. Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. A happy Football Friday, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Good to hear your voices, and finally, the end of the regular season. They could have said, let's drop week 18. Everyone's got COVID, and let's go with your records. We're going to play them, and I think for me, the 49er-Ram game is the best game on the card.
There's no doubt.
You guys feel
No doubt there, Pat, but there's plenty of stories that don't involve teams that are in the playoffs, and I want to start with one that we just talked about, Pat. The article in Cleveland.com about Baker Mayfield and Kevin Stefanski. We all know you have a great relationship with the Cleveland head coach. You've known him for many, many years. Mary Kay Cabot, who has been writing about the Browns for a long time, wrote an article in which she claims that Stefanski and Baker don't get along. Baker took to Twitter, the first time he's actually taken to Twitter in quite a while, and I do think that needs to be pointed out because he doesn't go on the attack all the time. Instead, it's clickbait. Your thoughts about the story, what you know about the story, what you know about Baker and Kevin Stefanski's relationship. Is it something that needs to be fixed?
No, their relationship is fine. In fact, Kevin likes Baker, likes coaching him, and every time someone asks all season, who's going to play quarterback today? And he said the same thing every week. If Baker's healthy, he plays. So they're fine. And actually, he's protected Baker in many, many ways throughout the year. What we heard and what caused that article is agent talk. The agent doesn't have a deal. He doesn't think he's going to get a deal. He thinks he's going to have to play as a lame duck on the option deal. It's not bad, $18.8 million. This is the same kind of language we heard about Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll not getting along. So I knocked it down pretty hard yesterday. And I don't blame the agent for trying. But then what I said yesterday is Baker needs to do the right thing here and stop it right where it is and don't let it get a life of its own, which he apparently did. So, no, it's what they all do when they want a contract extension, and there's not one coming, nor should there be. And so you just play out the year. For 18-8, they're going to take another look. It's the old poker game right now. So Baker didn't play well enough to get a 4 or 5 year deal. I bet you he wouldn't sign a 2-year deal. I bet you he wouldn't do that. So agent talk, and the player can control his agent, but he really needs to control his situation and let the agent do whatever the agent thinks is right until a point. And so that's what that is. It's a joke.
Right.
By the way, I'll ask you, Mark, who's going to trade for Baker when you owe him $18.8 million on a one-year deal?
All
and
right.
What would you give me for Baker?
All right. I will say I thought, and I know you asked Mark, I'm just going to interject. We had someone in our Twitch chat room say the Vikings have 1 year and a little over 30 left on Kirk Cousins, but Cousins is obviously 10 years older than Baker, and the thought is that Minnesota's probably at the end of the rope, and they wouldn't mind getting off the Cousins train in the next 12 months. Could you see it? I actually think, Minnesota could look at Baker as a young quarterback we could invest in. We don't have anybody else even close to as good as Baker backing up Cousins. I could see Cleveland thinks they're a contender. Minnesota might retool with a new coach. Cousins for Baker straight up, Pat. I actually think I could sell it to both.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of fun stuff we love in the off season. But Baker's nowhere near as good as Cousins right now.
The other thing I would say, Pat, is if somehow Cleveland were in the sweepstakes for the two quarterbacks that we know, Aaron and Russ, would they deal him much the way the Rams dealt Goff last year, that they're going to have to give something with him or not take as much, if you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's not a fair trade straight up. I think David would agree with that. So you'd have to throw extra stuff in. But Baker's beat up, and let's see how he does after the surgery. I like the idea of having that conversation. I don't think Russell's going anywhere. I don't think Rodgers is going anywhere. And I feel like Cousins, first off, we're not even sure who the coach of the Vikings is going to be. Might be Mike, but it might not be. So I think we got to clear that hurdle first. But I don't think people in Minnesota would go berserk. Some of them don't like Cousins. I get it. Cousins is not their problem in that town. And I'm not a big Cousins fan, but if you told the Viking fans, and I deal with a lot of them, hey, we're going to get you Baker Mayfield, they might fire the owner.
I'd save $15 million though a year, right now, for at least this next year.
The fans don't care about that. Once in a while, especially a Steelers fan, they like to talk about saving money, but the rest of them, they just want to win. In Minnesota, they're so desperate. They don't want to hear about the $15 million. You're downgrading our quarterback position to save money. We can't win with Cousins, and you want to give us a guy that, is erratic at this point. And that's how they would see Baker. I like Baker, but that's how they'd see him. Know what, today, David? I'm going to bring that up to a couple of Viking fans and see what they say, and I'll get back to you on Tuesday.
Now, you got to remember, with that $15 million, you can get some players. So, yes, I mean, let's just say you think going from Cousins to a healthy Baker is still taking a half a step down. But you have to acknowledge that franchise needs help elsewhere. They could spend that $15 million on the offensive line. That could go a long way.
No, it would go backwards because the quarterback wouldn't be as good. So you got two big tackles that are better than what you have, and your quarterback can't throw 35 touchdown passes. No.
You are talking to David Run the Damn Ball Moulton over here. So he wants those tackles because he wants to run the damn ball. Pat, you have to remember that. I do want to get into the game that you started with, Rams and Niners. Lance is playing. That obviously puts the Niners at a little bit of a disadvantage, but they've won 5 in a row or whatever it is against the Rams. Even with Lance playing, it's the power running. It's, running the end arounds. It's doing all the things that they're able to do. They've beaten up the Rams. Will they be able to do it again?
Yeah, it does come back down to which quarterback's in there. With Trey Lance, I will be taking the Rams. With Garoppolo, I would be taking the 49ers. It's that simple for me. So everyone likes to get on the Rams right now, even though they're the 2 seed, and they've done a lot of good things. And the best thing they've done is win 5 games in a row while Stafford throwing interceptions. So you get a guy throwing interceptions, 5 of them, and he overcomes it, and they overcome it. So they're playing pretty good. They're running the ball. I can't wait to see Akers back. I don't know if I'd play him in this game, but I think they're thinking about putting him out there for a couple snaps. They're running the ball. Sonny Michel's running the ball pretty well. They're playing terrific defense. Here's where I think the problem is for San Francisco. You're not going to block Aaron Donald, which Trey Lance at quarterback. He's going to get 2 sacks in this game.
I thought the Chargers-Raiders might be the game of the week. It's the Sunday nighter on NBC because it is the classic winner is in and loser, barring the unforeseen, does in fact go home. Raiders a home dog, which is interesting. First, you could argue playoff game for both Herbert and Carr. Remember the one time the Raiders made the playoffs, Carr got hurt late in that season. You could argue this is effectively their both first playoff games. How do you see the Chargers Raiders from a matchup standpoint?
Yeah, I agree with you, David. To me, it's the second best game, and in a lot of ways, maybe the best game with winner in. Couple things. They didn't handle Eckler very well last time they played, and I think that's still a problem. Carr, I mean, here's what it comes down to. Carr, to me, is not to be trusted. I like him. He's talented. He's fun to be a fan of, but he has so many weird moments, I'll leave it at that I just don't know if I can trust him. He got sacked 4 times the last time they played as well. So when he starts getting hit, have you noticed 2 things happen to him? Fumbles, and then he kind of curls up every so often and just goes down with the sack. How often do you see him break all loose from a sack and then run for a first down? Gruden used to say to me all the time, if he would just run for 3 first downs, how much better we'd be. And I confronted Carr with that. And Carr said, yeah, coaches always tell me. He had a big smile on his face when he told me, yeah, coach always tells me that. I go, why don't you do it? Well, I mean, if you're an athlete, you run fast. He just doesn't do it enough. So Herbert and the guys, I think I'm going to take the charge. I'd love to take the Raiders in this. And there's so many Raider fans on your shows, my shows, all of these. They're very passionate, and you can't even find a Chargers fan. But Herbert and those guys rushing Carr, I think I'll take the Chargers.
I mean, Mark, the NFL would never say this publicly. And yes, there's been a long-standing war between the Raiders franchise and the National Football League. But in terms of fan bases, there are 312 documented Chargers fans, and then there's Raiders Nation.
Oh, there's no doubt. And, Pat, we've had a little fun today. David came up with our poll question, and we rarely have one before the show. And today we did, and it's just simply, if your team's not in the playoffs, do you play to win the game, or do you want your team to lose for draft picks? And you hit them over the head with Dolphins, Patriots, and Ravens, Steelers. And, what shocked me, and it shouldn't have, is when all of a sudden we get a Texans fan tweeting the show going, don't forget about us. I hate the Titans. That's my Oilers. I want to win this more than anything. And I say that because the one team no one will give a chance to is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have only won, 6 straight games at either home or London against the Colts. This is, last year they were 1-15. What was the one? Home against the Colts. I know they have no shot, but Pat, this is the old adage. It's why we play the game.
Yeah, it's a great question. Coach Cowher is going to come on our show today to talk about when you're out of it, what should you do? And when you're in it, what should you do? The coaches I've talked to this week that are in the last game with nothing on the line, Atlanta, Seattle, Washington, they swear they're playing everybody. And they don't care about the draft picks. They really don't. The GM might, and the owner thinks he might, but the coach is just trying to win a game. And I think they'll play some young guys, but most of them are just trying to play to win and finish the season that way. That's coach thing. We'll see what happens in those games. But when I look at all these things, the fans of the teams that are out of it, all they care about now is the draft. They think the draft solves their problem. They think picking 3rd rather than 5th is a really important move up. And then we see opening day that 32 rookies start. It's like, I get why they think that way. The coaches don't. They really just want to coach to win a game. And those coaches swear to me, they're playing. Pete's quote was, this is our Super Bowl. Unfortunately, it's not the Super Bowl we wanted to be in, but it's our Super Bowl. And I rolled that whole line right at Arthur yesterday, Arthur Smith, and he said, you know what? I agree with Pete. That's how we're playing it. So those guys are doing it. I think the guys that aren't going to, like Philadelphia, they have nothing to play for. They should not play anybody. I think Cincinnati has the best view. They get to see Kansas City play on Saturday night. Once Kansas City wins, then he can't reach anything but either the 3 or the 4 seed, so they should not play anybody. I think those are the teams, and we'll find out what Coach Cowher thinks today of I'm going to bring that up, as I just said, and see what he reacts to.
It's our poll question at that Mark Miller or at the David Moulton on Twitter. Your team is out of it. What are you rooting for? Win because, well, Herm was right. You play to win the game. Or B, oh, man, lose. Draft position. Already looking ahead. That is our poll question. More with Pat Kirwan of NFL Radio, courtesy of Pinchers, right after this.
Mark Miller for Orange Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home Training System. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistance band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. No Blades this week, Pat? Are they even home?
Oh, yeah, tonight.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah. My brother, he's totally hooked on going. Brad Childress, totally hooked on going. They look at me cross-eyed if I tell them I have no tickets for them. I'm going with my wife and my kids. What?
All right, we'll find some other ways for them then. I'll have to introduce them.
I mean, Childress can afford to buy tickets.
I understand, but nobody ever wants.
Yeah. I love going with him because we sit there and talk football for hours.
That's
and
sign me up for one of those. You brought the big guy yet from the Northeast? Has he made one yet?
Bill Cowher?
No. The Doyle there.
No.
Chili's buddy.
He's coming tonight, I think.
I would figure he's a hockey guy. He's a Boston guy. I figured he'd like it.
Yeah, he's coming. He's Brad's bringing him. I do like talking to him. He sees the football world through a different prism for sure.
Woo! It's not that unusual, but it's a different one.
Yeah, but he's a good guy. He got caught up in the world of. He had trained one of my brother Jim's kids that Jim had, who ended up in pro football. My brother was his high school coach, and then the kid went to Iowa, and he trained him, and they are very close. So it's kind of fun talking to him about that stuff. But so I spent all day yesterday with the death of Greg Robinson. Laura, my wife, and our whole families are very close. We go on vacation with the Robinsons. Excuse me, Greg had 18 months of hell with Alzheimer's.
That sucks.
I mean, I felt so bad, and he passed away. So yesterday, the night before, Laura called me and said, "Can you just take care of this and handle, Schefter and all those guys?" And Adam used to love Greg because Adam was the beat writer in Denver when Greg was the D coordinator.
Right.
They won
when they won the Super Bowls.
So,
right.
So I dealt with that all day yesterday, and then he tagged me to it when he put out the stuff. So I must have got, I don't know, I'd say 1,000 texts or emails, and I tried to respond to all of them. But anyway, that consumed my whole day. But I'm happy to go to hockey tonight for sure. South Carolina, so there'll be a couple.
My team, the Stingrays.
Yes.
It's my team, Pat.
They always like to call the Stingrays their arch rival. I always thought it was the Solar Bears. But...
No, it's South Carolina. Because when the Blades came into the league, South Carolina was probably one of the gold standards, and the Everblades may have taken that away. Beautiful arena. It's a mini Palace. When they they tore the Palace down, but it's like the Palace Auburn Hills. It's a great arena. Well, and they've always been pretty good.
Soon all this football will be over, and I can go to the Saturday games when they have them.
Pat, the South Carolina team
tomorrow, 1-4.
Pat, the South Carolina team is the reason that I am part of a ECHL league rule because of South Carolina. The broadcast booth was basically in the stands right over like a portal to the upper deck. And I would always, at the start of the third period, have the beer vendor come by and give me a tall boy to drink during the third period before we left. The league then placed a rule that broadcasters were not allowed to drink during games because of South Carolina.
Oh, Mark, I'm proud of you.
1 minute.
That's really good.
It's minor league hockey, Pat. Do you really think people cared third period?
They put a cooler in the
no.
back. They put a cooler in the back of the booth in Dallas. Okay, we noticed that this past weekend. Yeah, and the cooler was stocked too. We used to have to sneak it into the back.
I always had a 6-pack for the referees.
30
brought
seconds
in after the game.
Well, you should hear James Brown talk about. Oh, you probably know this, David. You're involved with Fox, but he goes, "Yeah, after halftime, I really couldn't ask Jimmy Johnson any more questions. He was too Heineken'd up."
Yeah.
All right, here we go, gang.
Yeah, Jimmy and his green lizards.
Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Pat Kirwan for about 10 more minutes. Courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Pat, to our Buccaneer fans out there, remember, they were just starting to percolate this time last year. Don't know that we saw the big run coming, but they had just started to get it in gear. When you look at the Bucs, a win, they're no worse than the 3 seed, a chance still at the 2. Heading into the playoffs, they had virtually no injuries last year, just Vita Vea. That's certainly not the case this year. Your thoughts on the Bucs heading into Week 18 and beyond?
Yeah, I think you described the reality that they're not as strong as they have been. Throw AB into the mix, that dope. I don't think they can go the distance now. I just don't. And they're older. You know, the age when you play these long schedules and get it to the end of it, the receiver group, Mike Evans' hamstring could go pop at any second. Who knows? So, no, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think Tampa will win a round or two, and then something will happen that they just can't keep going. And it won't be because of Brady. Brady will play as well as he always plays, but not enough around them right now. And are they down to Le'Veon Bell at running back, David?
For the moment.
I will say, finally, the second year back from Vandy, Vaughn there has done enough to generate a touch of confidence from both Brady and Arians. Up until a couple of weeks ago, both of them only wanted to put him in the game as a last resort. Pat, I think the hope is that the Bucs can get through one more week and then start to get their horses back for the playoffs. I mean, they've got 3 or 4 key guys who seem to be targeting the wild card round as the date they come back.
Well, if that happens, and it could, and we haven't even brought up COVID yet, minus the COVID issues that could strike any one of these teams at any time. Yeah. But I don't see them. You know, last year I spent 2 or 3 interviews with Fournette because he fascinated me how Brady was pushing him along. Now, Le'Veon Bell is a terrific receiver, and if Tom is working overtime to get Le'Veon ready to be that guy, you go back and look at even the Super Bowl, how important was Leonard Fournette, the receiver? Even though he dropped a couple, I think Brady, when he knows the situation he's in, he needs that back outlet, which has always been a big piece for him, to go along with whoever's in the middle running the slot choice or the tight end choice. So, yeah, they're good. They're just, I maybe disagree with me. They're not as good as they were last year. Stu is a year older. There's a lot of issues there.
Godwin's out. I mean, just flat out that, Pat. With Godwin out, they're not as good as they were last year. That's an elite receiver. Period. End of sentence.
End of sentence. And AB, as a football player, was picking up the slack in that area. But now he's gone, and he should be gone.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, Pat.
So, to me, that's it on those guys. They won't make to the final.
Okay. But, I have no faith in Dallas after watching them a week ago. So how much faith do you have in the Rams as a team to really give Green Bay a run for their money? If you don't think it's Tampa, is there anyone else in the NFC? And I would think it would be the Rams that would be the best shot. Or is it a Niners team that sneaks in the playoffs that could give Green Bay? Because we've seen that before.
I'll go with the Rams on that one. It was interesting last week in their game, late in the game, who surfaces for them? Odell Beckham, whether you like him or not, and Von Miller. So they do have some rented pieces that are legit. So, it's all about Stafford. Is he going to throw interceptions all over the place in the championship game? I said it in August to you guys. The guy with the most pressure on him in the NFL is Stafford. They knew how to get into the postseason without Stafford. They actually got to a Super Bowl without him. Stafford was this quote-unquote final piece to put it all together, and he hasn't really lived up to it. But if you ask me to pick a team to challenge Green Bay, it'd be the Rams.
Tennessee. You know my feelings about Tennessee. This is their 6th straight winning season. They've made the playoffs most of those years, yet most people who even cover the league pat this franchise on the head. Well, now they have a chance to be the 1 seed and then get their horses back. Both wide receivers healthy by the playoffs. Derrick Henry, fresh possibly for the playoffs. What do you think, Pat? Tennessee, you willing to ride them?
Well, they're boring. They don't have big flash.
Right.
They win in the trenches, where most of the TV guys don't spend enough time talking about that. Their quarterback is mediocre. They're just hard-nosed, tough guys. I don't think it matters what weather they're in or anything else. The only issue I ever have with them, which will exist now, they are 6-2 against playoff teams. So they're battle tested. They've played a lot of the good teams and they've won. Do they have a true 2-minute mindset? Because you're going to need it in the postseason. To get to the Super Bowl, there's a game that they're going to have to be down 10 points and Tannehill's throwing like crazy and it works. Now, the three of us remember some of the early season games when they were down 10 points, they handed it off to Henry anyway. I don't know that you can get away with that all the time, but he will be, as you said, David, fresh. I think Mike Vrabel, I don't want to get into the Hub Arkish category here, but he is a strong contender for me for Coach of the Year. When you think they rushed for over 1,000 yards after Henry went down, it just tells you about that group up front, how physical they are, and they never wavered from their philosophy, and they never panicked. So Vrabel's done a lot to impress me.
Who's your MVP, Pat?
Hub Arkish. Oh, that's right. I can't vote for him. I'll pick it, but right now I'm leaning towards Rodgers. Because as Barry Wilner says to me, you can use any definition you want of most valuable. and there's multiple ways to look at it. So I like to start with what would this team be without this guy? And so Brady gets a lot of consideration for that. But without Rodgers, I think that team is 500 at best. And I think he's played phenomenal. Now, I love the receiver out there in Ramland. I like the running back in Colt country. But, on that bench in Colt land is Marlon Mack. Maybe he would have rushed for 2/3 of those yards. So, I don't know. I'm leaning towards Rush. I picked him last year. I'd pick him again probably.
And I'll say this, who has been somewhat overshadowed, but he has started his NFL head coaching career with 3 consecutive 13-win seasons. And Pat, I'll say this, the single best game day coaching job I have seen on Sundays in person was Matt LaFleur in Arizona with an unbelievably undermanned Packers team beating the Cardinals. He put on a symphony from a head coaching standpoint with different formations seemingly on every play. It is the single best coaching job in my 4 years around the NFL.
He is definitely in the conversation. And we did a mid-season award. Barry Wilner at AP wanted us to do it. And that was my mid-season coach of the year. So, yeah, he's on there's only 2 or 3 names I'd consider, and he's definitely one of them.
He'll
probably win it.
He's Pat Kirwan, 3 to 7 weekday afternoons on NFL radio. Tomorrow, he always does a show on Saturday. I believe the show tomorrow, because of the games, is from 1 until 4. And he moonlights.
That is correct.
And he moonlights as the Everblades mascot in Southwest Florida. Pat Kirwan, NFL Today on CBS, joining us once again courtesy of Pinchers. From Tampa to Key West with a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Pat, all the best. Safe travels. Have a great weekend.
That guy can always go Blades.
Pat Kirwan, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
We're going to have to explain that again in a couple of weeks every time we add stations. And people are, what the hell is he talking about?
Right.
Who in the hell are the Blades?
Tampa Bay's like, we got the Lightning.
Really got to get him to a Lightning game.
Right.
We really got to get him to a Lightning game.
He'll enjoy the bigger beers, if nothing else. And besides, it's only a little bit more to park. Miller and Moulton. 16 games this weekend for the final time. We'll begin to go through them next here on the Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Come out of this and do a live read.
Yep. Did he give you his poll question? I forgot. I heard Shane's voice yesterday. He came running in after the show.
No.
And
he just said, by the way, your voice when you were impersonating the boyfriend or the girlfriend, he said could have been a B actor in a Peter Sellers movie. Okay. He said he's really missed his calling. He said it could have been an SNL skit. Said I thought he really nailed it.
He said yesterday, he says, okay. The expense check not coming back. Poll question. What's worse, not getting the expense back for the Super Bowl use, or he goes, I don't remember what the band was. He goes, but it was a B103 concert we paired with FGCU. They had some act that for student Green Fest, one of those fest, Eagle Fest, we got involved, and the B103 van didn't work. So Brad suggested that we use this trade that we had from that GNC auto to tow the B103 van. And Shane's in the meeting goes, what if fire department says we have to move it and we can't because we have to have it towed somewhere else?
That's fantastic.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Adam, we had that. And granted, we did it 2 hours ago in the starting five, but
1 minute. $30.
McManus comes back with apparently the secret VIP password to get into France before the Grand Slam will be, do you know who I am?
$10 seconds.
Bellamy? Who's Bellamy?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Welcome back, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton, along with our friends at DraftKings, we all want to bring DraftKings top-rated sportsbook to the state of Florida, but it cannot be done without your help. If you're a registered voter in this state, you need to go to FLEDchamps.com, FLEDchamps.com.
Sign the petition to bring legal sports betting to the state. Florida want better news. Revenue generated from all sports betting will go entirely to supplement public education funding in the state. That's $247 million annually to education funding in the state of Florida.
Let's help the people who help us. So go to FLEDchamps.com. That's FLEDchamps.com and sign your petition today.
Paid political advertisement paid for in kind by DraftKings, 222 Berkeley Street, Boston, Mass. Approved by Florida Education Champions.
Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FSN Radio to 21,000 is how you can text into the show. FSN Radio to 21,000, or just be watching us, following us, subscribe to us, the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, and chime in accordingly.
Just got a text from our last guest who's already made it to the golf course telling us that he's number one.
Or we are, one or the other. All right.
He literally finishes the interview and joins his, from what I understand, Pat Kirwan goes and hits balls in the morning. I have friends who work where Pat's a member. He'll look at them, make some disparaging comment about me, come do the segment, and then join his guys on the back nine who have already played 9 holes, and he picks them up for the back 9. So Pat's getting a quick 9.
It's got a good little routine going there.
Yep.
We should all play 9 holes every Friday morning.
Darn right we should.
Especially before we go to work. Pat's got a full work day ahead of him.
I'm going to play 18 after I work, so at least that's the plan.
Nothing wrong with that. Miller and Moulton on this football Friday. There's always a surprise firing. That's what I'm trying to figure out looking at these games. Like, I think Vic's gone in Denver. You know, I'm just looking at the games. KC, Denver.
Okay.
I think we lose a coach there. Dallas, Philly. I don't think we're
Nope.
losing a coach there. Cincinnati, Cleveland.
No.
Green Bay, Detroit.
No.
Chicago, Minnesota.
Yes.
I think we're losing both.
Both. Right.
I think they're both getting fired. Okay, that's 3. Washington at the Giants.
I mean, they've said that Judge is staying.
Right, but they've also said that they will leave the final word up to the new general manager. Now, granted, they control who ultimately becomes general manager, and if you've got 4 finalists, if you will, and 2 of them are saying, well, I'd like to start over, and 2 of them are saying, I could make it work with Joe Judge, now all of a sudden you probably have narrowed your list down to the 2 guys who want to work with Joe Judge. So we think we'll lean towards nobody loses their gig.
Right.
Okay. Indy and Jacksonville. Clearly, Jacksonville's going to have a new
head
coach.
coach. So that's 4.
Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
No one's losing their job.
No. Tennessee, Houston. No one's losing their job. I don't think Culley's out after a year.
No, I don't
fact,
either.
I could argue that he's done a pretty good job.
They've been better than I thought they were going to be.
Well, most people thought it's the worst roster in the league, and right now they're drafting no worse than 4th. So
right.
And they played pretty well in the second half of the year. And let's be honest, he's developing a young quarterback.
Correct. I mean, everybody thinks this kid can play a little bit. He's been the surprise of the year at the quarterback position.
I mean, come on. Hey, Lawrence's development this year in Jacksonville, Davis Mills' development in Houston this year.
It's not close.
No.
So he stays.
New England, Miami.
I think that's your surprise. If New England wins, covers, beats down Miami at home, makes them look bad, could Flores be out? I think it's possible. I think it's highly unlikely, but I think it's possible. If you want me to circle one that I think that there's, so you're saying there's a chance. I would go with Miami.
Fair enough. I'm with you, by the way. I think that's the one that's also the one in which, remember when Gruden got fired? He got fired in like late January. Like it was well after Black Monday and all that. And all of a sudden we were doing a show here. And at the time we went until at least 6. And I don't know, sometimes we even went until 7. And Gruden got fired at like 20 to 7 at night. It was like,
you know
what?
I will tell you, we were on till 7, but we may have pulled a fast one and left at 6.
We may have taped the final hour.
I know for a fact we did, because Pat Kirwan does a show 3 to 7. We taped Pat that day. I'm pretty sure. And we had a 6 o'clock segment that was already done. 2 segments with Pat. We did a good, bad, and ugly. And the hour's done. We walked out the building at 6 o'clock and we're freaking out going,
wow,
do we need to go back?
Right.
And we ultimately decided, and by we, the producer and I ultimately decided, no, we were not coming back to let you talk about John Gruden.
So Flores could be a Gruden-like firing if that were to happen, where this could happen 3 weeks into the offseason.
Keep tabs on Jim Harbaugh.
I don't think Matt Rule is going to lose his gig, even when they lose in Tampa. Think about this. They started 3-0. They're going to finish 5-12. And I think they were 5-5. So this is going to end with 7 straight losses. By the way, all but one of them after he fired Joe Brady as offensive coordinator. Mark, an amazing stat involving Carolina. Do you know they are number 2 in defense in the league?
Yes.
They're giving up.
I didn't until the first game against Tampa a couple weeks ago when that stat came on the board. And I'm like, holy Toledo.
They're still number 2 in defense. Now, you can rate defensively, 2 or 3 different ways. One of them, though, is yards per game given up. Carolina is giving up a shade under 300 yards a game defensively, which in this day and age is playing tremendous defense. And 2 years ago, they were one of the worst defenses in the league. Matt Rule has come in, and every single personnel move he has made on that side of the ball has pretty much worked out. And that is now a defense that you can do some serious damage with. And yet they're about to lose 12 of their final 14. So it's working on that side. It's not working on this side. And he's already fired the coordinator that he brought in on this side. And Sam Darnold clearly hasn't developed. Rule signed, I believe, a 7-year deal. He's only 2 years into it. He's everything, by the way. He's the final word on personnel. He's the coach, the whole deal.
He's not going anywhere. He's just not. David.
I don't think he is either. It's just I wanted to lay it all
when they
out
get
there for
Deshaun Watson
anybody.
there next year, if he can't develop him, then there's going to be problems.
Saints and Falcons. I don't think anybody's going anywhere
No.
there. First-year coach in Atlanta.
No, unless Sean Payton retires.
Well, he's not retiring. All right.
Well, that's what I mean, but he ain't getting fired, if you know what I mean.
No, he's definitely not. Niners, Rams. If Shanahan loses and they miss the playoffs.
That would be your, if you don't take Miami in the surprise firing, you would take the Niners if they lose, right?
I think so. Jets, Buffalo, Salah's the first-year coach. Right. Okay, now we get to two, which I think are interesting. Seattle, Arizona.
I don't think Pete's going anywhere.
I don't think the quarterback and the head coach are both in the same city next year.
And I think that they are.
I think Russ is going to be the biggest pain in the butt this offseason. I really think he's going to say to Seattle, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not coming back. Trade me. I am not coming back. I'm not in it for the retool. Don't believe in it. Don't think we're close. Sorry.
Despite the fact that yesterday Russell Wilson said, my goal is to win more Super Bowls, and my plan is to win them here. It's that simple.
Right. I think Russ, by the way, plays both sides of the coin. I do. I think Russ publicly is very image conscious, and I think Russ privately says different things.
A little bit of Peyton Manning. And I don't mean that he was a disturbance, but Peyton always got paid. Peyton always had the image of the squeaky clean guy, but Peyton never left $1 on the table.
No, not
Peyton
at all.
was a son of a gun
Same with Eli.
As a negotiator.
No,
you know
Tom Condon represented them both. Tom Condon does not give hometown discounts at all. At all. I think Pete comes back. I don't think Russ does, though. I really don't. Then we get to the Chargers and the Raiders. Now, the Chargers coach is not going anywhere. But we talked about how this is essentially a playoff game. I mean, winners in, losers out. That sounds like playoffs to me. So if you're the head coach of the Raiders, you're the interim guy. But, I mean, come on. Think about what this guy's dealt with this year. He took over the whole Gruden mess, the rug situation. Heck, he just had another guy get a DUI on Monday night. They're obviously playing hard for him. They've gone on the road late in the season. They've won in Dallas. They've won in Indy. If he wins, they make the playoffs. I mean, if you're Mark Davis.
Do you think Jim Harbaugh is better? David, that's the question.
And that's certainly a fair question to ask. But if he wins, is it literally something? Has he basically jumped ahead of? We all know the 6 guys he could interview. He could interview Leftwich. He could Bowles, Bieniemy. I mean, we all know who they are. All right. If he wins and gets him in the playoffs, is this essentially his job unless he's going to hire a Jim Harbaugh or I don't know, a Doug Peterson? I mean, Doug Peterson did win a Super Bowl.
There's part of me that could see the Raiders really wanting to hire Bieniemy. Mark channeling his inner Al and seeing how he could stick it to the Chiefs. That's very Raider-esque, if you know what I mean.
So just something to consider is if they get in the playoffs, has he essentially been hired as head coach? And if they lose, then they say, hey, we thank you for the job that you did. And, we'll want the next coach to keep you on, but we're not going to hire you as head coach. I mean, I'm wondering if that's also on the line. And quite frankly, could it also be for Carr in Vegas? Win, you're still our quarterback.
I don't know. Those decisions are almost intertwined, David. Because if you lose and you're going to get rid of the coach and you're going to get rid of the quarterback, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, Russ wants to go to Vegas. Remember, it was one of his 3-4 places.
I got you. But I'm obviously Russ or Aaron can come. You're upgrading. I get it. But I do think the two decisions are somewhat intertwined. Don't you?
Yeah.
I
do.
mean, if you lose and you get rid of the coach and then you get rid of the quarterback, well, what are you saying?
Well, but also if they lose, Mike Mayock could also lose his job. I mean, Mayock was tied to Gruden. Now, Mark Davis should know who exactly. Now, Gruden had final say on personnel, but that doesn't mean that Mayock didn't get his way sometimes. And Gruden said, yeah, okay, fine, go with it. I don't really care. Yeah, we'll go with you this time. So Mark Davis should know who was a Gruden pick and who was a Mayock pick. They've missed with some high draft choices. They flat out
corner
missed.
that they picked way high that they reached for.
They've gone already.
Right.
A year and a half, gone. The guy they took 4th overall, certainly not. I don't think he's worthy of a first-round pick. Never mind 4th overall.
Well, then not to mention they sent their center to Arizona in the offseason, which didn't seem to make any sense to anybody.
So, I mean, I think a ton is on the line for Vegas.
And the league wants them to win, even though they'll never admit it.
Right. They only want them to win to a certain point, but they would love for them to be, 10, 11 wins every year.
They could handle Vegas winning a playoff game every year.
Yeah, they'd be fine with that.
Occasionally, too.
Ooh, I don't know. Now you start getting really close to the
No.
game.
I said occasionally, too. They don't even mind him in the big game. They just don't want him to win it.
I don't know if they'd like him in the big game. I don't.
It's not Al. It's Mark.
Yeah, I understand. This Gruden case has got a couple more years to go. It's got legs. A lot can happen here.
Well,
there's a lot of laundry that could be aired. A lot of dirt that might not get cleaned. Miller and Moulton. So that's just some of off the field what also seems to be riding on week 18. Which is so weird to say. First ever week 18. First ever 17th game Sunday. How does it feel, by the way? Do you like it?
Too much.
Or do you agree with Pat, which we could have ended this sucker last weekend?
100%, because there's very little to play for this week. I mean, we're selling this pretty hard right now, David. Not a lot of meat on the bone.
I don't know what to tell you. We're a fruit stand. All we got is fruit. I mean, what do you want me to sell?
Wouldn't mind a little prime rib. I'd like some protein. You seem to just have fruits and vegetables for me, David.
That's why it's a fruit stand.
Tampa Bay St. Pete, have a great weekend. The bonus hour, the 239, is next.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, do you think you can come up with a 24-second clock every day?
Like the basketball thing?
Yeah, for you.
Oh, I could.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Also, I didn't order it yesterday, but I am today. Do you want anything for Chick-fil-A breakfast?
No.
Okay. You think Mark would want anything?
I don't know. He
Yeah. I'll ask him when he gets here.
wait 30 seconds
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
My guess is we're so close to the end that we'll make it. That we're much more fragile at about 7:30.
Like hungry at 7:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You know, between 7:30 and 8:15, I think we're in trouble.
I usually get out of here at always around like 10:30, and by the time breakfast is done at most places, so I could use some breakfast right now.
Yeah, Adam, believe it or not, I think the NFL's done with Big Ben, and they know that this Steelers team has no longevity in them. I actually think the league would root for the Raiders. I really do.
New stadium.
And to get them in. Because also the Raiders play entertaining games. The Raiders can win a game. And if they get in as the 7, they'll likely play the Chiefs. And that's always entertaining. Because they hate each other.
I really, really want to see the Jaguars beat the Colts and have them tie. That would be the craziest. Has that ever happened in the history of the NFL?
Not that I can recall.
Exactly. And that's that. I'm saying this, and I like the Colts a lot, and I'd love for them to see them in the Super Bowl.
Wow, I love the Colts a lot. You
Yeah.
don't hear that very often.
I love the Colts. They got a good team.
They do have a very good team.
They've just lost games that they should have won a lot this year.
Which begs the question, why?
Right.
If they have such a good team.
Yes, that's the answer. They're such a mystery.
He's getting food. You want anything? What?
In the building.
The water's off.
Well, I didn't know it was the whole building because they're doing some plumbing shit in the area there. So I went to the back to go take piss, and I'm like, oh, they got the water off for the whole building. I found some. Okay. We had some in our studio. Thank you, sir. No problem. I mean, I know it might not work, but it's got to be better than nothing, David.
No, Southwest Florida Raider, because if they win to go 10-7, but if the Colts win, does that only get the Colts to 10? Then yeah, they'd be ahead of them. Yeah. No, you're right. If the Raiders win, they're a 6.
30 seconds. By the way, another reason why I like seeing the Dolphins win against the Patriots in meaningless games. Remember when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl?
Oh,
we were
yeah.
the reason why they had home field.
Yeah, well, they didn't have home field, but they had the 2 seed. The Dolphins beating the Patriots the final game of the season gave them the 2 seed. They then had a first round divisional round upset.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Fourth and final hour of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday. It's the last full weekend of the season. 16 games Saturday and Sunday. No Monday nighter. The Monday nighter will be the national championship game between Alabama and Georgia. Dogs remain a 2.5-point favorite to do something they haven't done in 41 years.
You know, we haven't talked a whole lot about the title game.
No, Because it's Monday night. We figured we'd talk about it Monday.
Right. But as we said earlier in the week, the numbers for the semifinal games were down. You pointed out today, ticket prices are plummeting. Plummeting.
$900 less now than it was a week ago.
Bitcoin's done better in the last 2 days than ticket prices.
What was a $1,300 ticket is now a little more than $400 to get into the title game.
So interest waning on this game. We both think the number will be way down because of who's involved.
Yep.
So that's part of the reason why we have, and we also think in these parts where it's a ton of Buckeyes, a ton of Gators, that there's not the same interest.
No.
Particularly in the 2-3-9 that there might be in other parts of the state of Florida.
Absolutely. Got a bunch of Gator fans going, well, this really excites me.
Right. If we were on Lake City, which we will be soon, we'd be just talking dogs nonstop.
I mean, Gator fans like, listen, I'm tired of Alabama winning, but if it means Georgia doesn't win, roll damn Tide.
I do think that there's no doubt that the Gator fan is turned flat out into a Bama fan.
I mean, this is really the worst case scenario for a Vols fan. I mean, this is just awful.
They're rooting for Georgia.
I know. Say that out loud. A border state, and they're desperately rooting for Georgia.
Desperately.
Because they hate Bama so much.
So damn much. Think about that. That's something. Our poll question today is a very simple one. If your team is not in the playoffs, Doll fan, and really Steeler and Raven fan, and Bear and Viking fan, do you want to play to win the game or lose for a better draft pick? 57% of you are going all Herm Edwards, and you're playing to win the game. I thought this vote would make you somewhat happy, David. That
Very much so.
That we're leaning to win the game. I, of course, want the draft pick. But I don't have the same affinity for NFL teams that a lot of you do. And, we stuck it to Philly on this one early this morning. And he had him and Haw for a little bit before he picked, I need the Dolphins to win because it's the Patriots. And Miami doesn't even have a first-round draft pick. But that second-round pick's the difference between picking mid-40s and maybe low 50s. It is significant. Yet, I think most Doll fans would like to beat the Patriots twice.
Yes.
Look at that.
See, he's come around.
Look at that. Speaking of the Dolphins and the Patriots' final game of the season, and Felipe pointed this out during the commercial break, we wonder how much significance, especially this year, that the seeding will be. Since seemingly road teams are doing so well, and, will it really matter who is facing whom and where it is that they are playing? And, of course, we won't know. But remember, it was just 2 years ago. Tom Brady was still a New England Patriot. And the 4-11 Dolphins went to play the 12-3 Patriots. And the Patriots with a win would have gotten a first-round bye as the 2 seed. This was the last year that the top 2 seeds in each conference got a bye. And what did the Dolphins have to play for? The Patriots were clearly the superior team. The game was in Foxborough, for goodness sakes, in late December. And Miami went up and won the fourth quarter and beat the Patriots 27-24, which allowed the Chiefs to become the 2 seed and get the first round bye. And then when the 1 seed got upset in the divisional round, the Chiefs ended up hosting the Titans in the AFC Championship game and went to and won the Super Bowl. And would any of that happen? The Chiefs got the bye, got to not go to New England in theory for the divisional round, and then they get to host the AFC Championship game?
You're welcome, Chiefs fans.
And they are. Very
Yes.
much so. They acknowledge it. Trust me.
There's a really cool moment from the game that the Chiefs were playing where Kevin Harlan was commentating and he was live.
He's doing both games.
He's doing both games at
Yes.
once. Gesicki, touchdown.
And it turned out to be Tom Brady's last regular season game in New England. And it foreshadowed, and then they lost the next week to the Titans. And so Brady ended his career with 2 home losses in New England. But we've got a couple of scenarios like that this weekend. Will one of them play out? Quite frankly, will Carolina go into Tampa and potentially ruin seeding for the Bucs? They're every bit the underdog that the Dolphins were. I mean, for goodness sakes, they're 5-11. They've lost 11 of 13.
Hey, the Bucs had to rally their tails off to beat the New York Jets last week.
Right. And they're down to one healthy semi-top receiver in Mike Evans. And
Who's not healthy?
And what's their running back rotation again? I mean, they are banged up, and they're not going to get a week off no matter what. So you don't think Jacksonville's going to be that team at home against the Colts, but then again, for whatever reason, there's something in the water. Anytime Indianapolis visits Jacksonville, could it be Houston at home?
There's the one. I mean, that's the one you got to pay attention to. Because David, is there a team out there that needs the week off more than the Tennessee Titans?
I don't think so.
I don't think it's possible to look at NFL rosters that are, of the potential one seeds. Everybody could use a break. I get it. But the way that the roster and the turmoil through players and injuries that the Tennessee Titans have had to go through this entire year, I don't think that there is a team in the National Football League that could lose more by losing. And I get not making the playoffs, but the difference between a 1 and a 2 for the Titans is far greater than any other seeding movement that can happen this weekend.
I think the team with the second most on the line is the Rams.
Just quickly on Tennessee, David. I think they can get to the Super Bowl as the 1. I think they have 0 chance as the 2. 0. That's how big I think it is for the Titans.
The Rams are playing for essentially the difference between the 2 and the 5. A Rams win, they're the 2 seed. And while it doesn't give them a first round bye, it will get them potentially the Saints. I mean, come on. Does anybody think the Saints are going into Los Angeles and beating the Rams? Because if the Rams beat the Niners, then the Niners could be out, and the Saints would, if they make it, would get in as only the 7. And then in theory, the Rams get to host the Bucs, a team they've already hosted and beaten. Meanwhile, if they lose, Arizona, solid favorites to win at home against Seattle. If they do so, Arizona wins the division. Great news for Tampa. They could be the 2. But the Rams then become the first wild card. And it's 3 road games.
And not just this season, but I do think that you're onto something with the Rams, who are still trying to establish their identity in the Los Angeles sports world. 3 road games would be nice. The odds are you don't go to the Super Bowl that way.
No.
You get 2 home games, even if you lose to the Packers. Even if you end up going to the 1 and losing the NFC Championship game, I think it would do a massive amount to where the Rams fit in the LA sports scene, David.
Well, there's no doubt they're fighting year to year.
And they will be fighting year to year for a decade. But if Stafford's the answer and he's going to play there for 6 more years, I do think the difference between a 2 and a 5 has short-term effects and long-term effects of the LA Rams.
So will Houston, a double-digit underdog? Will San Francisco, only a 4.5-point dog? But will an underdog, Carolina, an 8-point dog? Will one of those significant underdogs rise up this week? I mean, does anybody think it's going to be the Jets? Can the Jets go to Buffalo and do what the Dolphins did 2 years ago? Because if so, that could be the difference between the 3 and the 5 for the Bills. I mean, Bills by chance lose to the Jets, the Patriots win and they win the East. Don't know if a team has it in them. I do think you stumbled on the right team, though. The team that I think is the most vulnerable, that's a significant favorite, the Titans. They desperately need a bye week.
I'm telling you, it's
Desperately.
everything, David. I believe that they have zero chance. I don't even know if they can make the AFC title game if they don't get the one. They're that banged up.
Miller and Moulton. When we come back and update on one of the biggest stories of the week, which only gets stranger, Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Orange Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home Training System. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistance band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All I want is a Chargers Bengals AFC Championship game.
Yep. Yeah.
David Cohn.
And A-Rod's out, by the way.
A-Rod's out.
It's Cohn
And
and
Perez and
Eduardo Perez. Yep. And A-Rod and Michael K are going to do A-Rod casts. Not every week. They're going to do like 10 to 12 of them.
Oh, ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs Packers dream Super Bowl matchup. But we can sneak the Bengals in there. That'd be cool. If the Jags beat the Colts, it'd make for a great episode of Hard Knocks. Which I haven't been watching, by the way. Is it good? Clinton Portis 6 months in prison.
Yes, we talked about that in the starting 5. Clinton Portis, 6 months in prison. He and 15 others pled guilty to a healthcare fraud scheme involving former NFL players.
All right, here's the deal with Quentin Porras. I need one more of you to follow today. We need another follow here. If you're on Facebook, I need you to come over to Twitch and follow. If you're on YouTube, I need you to come over to Facebook and follow. We cannot end the week at 666 followers.
Oh, I noticed that earlier. We have 666.
That's all. That is all. On Twitter Twitch, to be a Twitch follower. You probably already are. I'm with David. I think Green Bay gets beat. I think Brady will host the NFC Championship probably against the Rams or.
No, I'm thinking the other
I
way
know
around.
you are, David. I know you are. I was just I was seeing if you were paying attention.
I am. Do you know one of the other 15 guys that pled guilty was Rashay Caldwell, who then got shot and killed on his front lawn like a year and a half ago? Still no leads in the case.
Oh.
There we go. Thank you, FinFan.
Yes, sir.
Couldn't get through the weekend like that. I needed to be to 667. Needed to feel just a little bit more Christian.
Bad juju. We don't need that. $15 seconds.
Fam followed us on Facebook.
We'll take everything. Every follow we can get. Every social media number that goes up is a good thing.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
19 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts and predictions coming up in a bit. But first, it's the story that won't go away, and it keeps on giving. And it's Novak Djokovic, tennis nomad. If you missed it in the last 48 hours, the number one player in the world and a guy who is competing with Federer and Nadal to go down historically as maybe the greatest player of all time, at least in terms of who will end up with the most major championships. They all have 20, the three of them do right now. How ridiculous is that, by the way? We could just go on a tangent about three guys all at the same time, all with 20 majors. I mean, can you imagine Jack, Tiger, and one other?
No.
All playing golf at the same time for a 15-year period, and basically it's one of the three winning everything. And they're all pretty much on equal footing. You know, Nadal dominates the French. Pick a golf tournament that, you know, the Tiger dominates Augusta. He wins 9 of them. You know, Djokovic's dominated the Australian. He's won 9 of those. So, you know, let's just say, you know, he's great at the PGA or whatever. And then Federer's won 7 Wimbledon. Okay, although I think Djokovic's close. But he's won 7 Wimbledon. And so, you know, he dominates the British.
Right. No. David, and I think it's crazy because I like your golf comparison because that's basically Tiger and Jack and Arnie all playing at the same time. All at the same time.
Right.
And winning all of the tournaments and no one else has a shot. I mean, it's DeChambeau, Koepka, JT, and Rahm. I might have missed DJ. I mean, there's one more, but you know what I'm saying.
Rory, whatever.
Well, not Rory anymore because he's.
I love how you've
So
buried
yes,
Rory.
buried Ricky Fowler. I've been right on that one.
Oh, you have.
But it's 4 golfers right now, because there's so many good young golfers, and just pick the 4. I don't care who. And that they just go on to basically win every major for the next 20 years.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
With
It
a
is.
little sighting of one guy here or there is going to sneak one in.
Right. Andy Murray had an hour and a half.
Exactly.
Right.
It's unfathomable what they've done.
It's remarkable. So Djokovic's the youngest of the 3. He's 34. Federer may have played his last match. I mean, he missed a good chunk of last year. He's unable to play. The word is, by the way, he's hoping to play Wimbledon and retire. I mean, apparently his knee is that bad. He is hoping to be able to play one more Grand Slam event, most likely Wimbledon, and then call it a day. And Nadal, while still a top player, is elite on clay, but not necessarily elite anywhere else. So here's Djokovic. He's won 9 Australians. He's unvaccinated. Australia's got a very strict policy about that. Can't come into the country if you're unvaccinated. Djokovic's like, yeah, I got a medical condition and I got doctors. And then they're like, well, all right, submit your paperwork. And, we've got a couple of independent boards and they'll see whether or not you're, fully, or there's something there. And much to everyone's surprise, a couple days ago, both independent advisory committee there said, yeah, actually, Djokovic's, what he's saying here is legit. Let him in. And so the tournament went, yeah, okay, great. You played by the rules and okay, you got your exemption. Yeah, that may be to play in the Australian Open, but once again, you have to be allowed in the country to play in the tournament. And when he went to be allowed into the country said no. We don't care about the Australian Open's exemplary or exception committee or whatever. It ain't working for us. So he's now appealing to the Australian Supreme Court to try to be able to play in a tournament that starts a week from Monday. But Mark, you at the very same time that this was going on 48 hours ago said, well, if he can't play the Australian, what tournaments is he going to be allowed to play?
And it appears that the French has now decided they're going to let him in. At least their sports minister has said they will let Novak Djokovic into the French Open.
Right. Once again, the tournament has said you can play.
I will say this is an interesting take just because of the French Open. If you go back in the French Open, Naomi Osaka was forced out of the French Open because she didn't want to do interviews.
Right.
They basically, Joker, they're going to let play in the tournament, even though, he was most known in the last 2 years for hosting a super spreader event that he had filmed. You can't make this up, David.
So Djokovic's going to be allowed in the tournament. However, there's a question as to whether or not he's going to be allowed into the country. Because the president of France has come out and said, yeah, we may have to lock this sucker down. So I'm curious when we're going to see Djokovic again. Which Grand Slam's going to let him in? We joked the other day, pardon the pun, joking about Djokovic, whose nickname is Joker. But is the next time we see Djokovic in Miami? Because goodness knows there's a few airports in Florida that would probably let him fly his private jet into. And then once here, ... But he's still out of the Australian. Now he's in some 5-star hotel. He hasn't been forced to flee the country only because he's appealing.
And apparently there's another female tennis player from the Czech Republic that's also in the same boat. They're hanging at the same hotel, David. That's all I know right now.
Might as well.
Right.
Need a practice partner.
Don't know how you get room service, but we'll work on that later.
Just leave it outside the door.
This would seem to work fine by me.
So now, the Australian government's as strict as anybody else out there. Maybe he won't have this problem
In
elsewhere.
France, in the
Maybe.
UK, in the US.
Maybe.
We are talking about September by the time the US Open is here. You would think a lot will have changed by then, but you don't know.
Right. Late May is when the French starts. That's still, a good 4+ months from now.
And the end of June, early July for Wimbledon.
But Djokovic right now is, I don't want to say he's a man without a country, but he's a man without at least one continent.
He's a man without a tennis court, David. He's certainly a man with a country because his countrymen are all standing firmly behind him and, vowing to never visit Australia again as a country right now. Serbia does not want to go down under, David.
Well, not to just try to tell one joke after another here, but, the other thing at work here, the Australian Open, which has always been the least popular of the four majors, but they have gone to great lengths in recent years to try to be at equal footing, at least with the French. They added $1.5 million to their prize money for this year's tournament. I mean, they are throwing around some serious coin because they understand it's not the best time of the year and it's not easy travel, and they're sucking up to these players as much as they can. That's if you can get in the country.
Well, he could have gotten in. It was very easy to get in. He knew what he had to do, and he didn't want to do it. I think this is a bit laughable. I don't understand why the Australian. There's a lot of blame. The most of it to me is on Djokovic because it's very simple. You get vaccinated, you can play in the tournament. These are the rules. Okay, you're anti-vax and you think I have a bad take there. Fine, but what is the Australian Open doing? Clearing someone when they knew at the end of the day, they had a pretty good idea what the government was going to do. And it looked as if the Australian Open was trying to save face for themselves.
See, I actually think the Australian Open is caught a little off guard here. I think the Australian Open, if they are to be believed that the folks who took a look at his petition are truly independent, and there are some in the sport that are vouching for it, and there are others in the sport that are going, are you serious? You really think this was independent? But it was not one, but it was two boards, submitted the paperwork. I have no idea the medical condition that Djokovic is claiming. I have no idea if it has anything to do with, being able to produce children. I have no idea at all. So he submits what it is he submits. And the Australian Open at first was kind of skeptical, going, I don't know if this is going to work. But when the independent board, both of them said, yeah, actually, he qualifies for the exemption, they went, oh, okay. And I think the tournament then thought that, well, when his plane lands, they'll let him through customs also.
And David, again, you and I always like to play the guy in the back of the room. Someone didn't raise their hand and say, we probably can get a direct line to the Prime Minister's office. We're not going to get him on the phone, but we can get somebody this is the biggest sporting event that we hold in our country.
Without question.
And it ain't close.
And it is a country that is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for sports.
And particularly tennis. They love this event.
Yes.
I mean, look it. If Roger Goodell needed to get a hold of the president for something relating to the Super Bowl, I believe that he could.
Oh, easily. Easily.
Therefore, I believe whoever is running the Australian Open could pick up the phone and get a hold of the Prime Minister of Australia. I think the Australian Open is full of crap. I don't buy their story for 1 second. They wanted Djokovic to play in their tournament. He's the number one player in the world and could have, at the Australian Open, taken the lead for the most majors for any tennis player who's ever played. At what tournament again? Oh, yeah, that's the Australian Open. I don't buy any of it. Not in the country that has been the strictest or the second strictest of English-speaking nations in Western civilization for letting people into their damn country. Come on. It's either Australia or New Zealand that has clamped down the hardest since it started.
So you're claiming that basically
they're full of crap.
That it's CYA.
Yeah.
That they ultimately, at the end of the deal, were like, well, listen, we know he's not going to pass customs, so why don't we come out looking good? All right, we'll work this so that, hey, you can play in the tournament, and then we'll let our country basically be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And I think they got caught by surprise. I think that they're like, well, wait a minute, what do you mean you're not going to let him in? I mean, he filed the paperwork here. You know, the committee cleared him. But I will say, to back up your point of view, once they stopped him at the border and didn't let him through, the tournament and the Prime Minister's office, but particularly the Prime Minister's office, did immediately say, hey, man, those guys run the show. Even I take orders from them. They tell me who's allowed in and who's allowed out. Oh, okay. But yes, Mark, it's sports. Okay, we come on now. I mean, it involved the Super Bowl. Yeah, Goodell would get on the horn.
Yeah, I mean, that's all.
He'd call Biden, and he'd be like, Joe, I need a solid here. It's the Super Bowl. And if you don't give it to me, well, I'll just let everybody know you wouldn't do us a solid. That's all. I don't know if you know, our owners are very rich. They can write very big checks. You've got one more election in you, right? I'm just saying. We need a solid.
Some of them actually support you. Most don't, but
right.
Some do.
Right. Stephen Ross, I know, supports you, and there's 2 or 3 others. But, you know, I could even arm twist a couple of them. I mean, who knows? I might even be able to give to the Democrats in the midterms. I hear you need help.
Who doesn't?
We could all use help in the midterms.
We could all use a donation.
Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, and some picks for Week 18 in the NFL before we say goodbye for the week. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M, only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I told you my post office got, or my mailbox got clipped, right?
Right.
She wouldn't put mail in it because it wasn't attached. She wouldn't do it on the ground. So I jerry rigged it so it was in there. Then she put a note in the mailbox saying that my mailbox was broken. As if I didn't know my mailbox was broken.
Wow. You're definitely running now.
She signed it, the postmaster, and she had a phone number. Of course, I called the phone number. No one answered it. I'm going to the post office. So I think she's contracted. She said she works with, there's actually a story that I'm doing for the Ugly. That's a postal story, but it's somewhere in the Villages. They're contracted. I don't think like these people get these jobs. They're not working for the post office, but they get contracted
30
for
seconds.
these HOAs. Because I don't think we're technically real streets.
Gotcha.
I don't necessarily know that for sure, but I think that's the case. She's mean. You know it. She threatened you. You like post people.
I do. Well, what bothered me was that she threatened me. I mean, because she was being lazy.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"19 minutes before the hour, the home stretch of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network on this first full week of 2022. Hope it's gone well for you. We thank you for spending part of it with us. All right, it's that time. Time now for
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When.
I'm going way back.
Ooh, I like when the Wayback Machine goes way back.
1610. Galileo. He discovers the first 3 moons of Jupiter. Today in 1610. No?
You know, if he didn't discover them and maybe his partner did, maybe they would have gone, Galileo.
1782. First ever bank in the United States. The Bank of North America.
Ooh, okay.
By the way, how about that? Really sticking your chest out. Hey, what's that? It's a bank. What are you calling yourself? We're the Bank of North America. Wow. Damn. Philadelphia, apparently.
All right.
A lot of firsts in Philadelphia. I'm telling you.
That's why
Arguably,
they've got such a chip on their shoulder
Our
because everybody left.
our most historic city is arguably Philadelphia. First ever U.S. presidential election was technically today in 1789. The way we did it then, states choose electors. A month later, on February 4th, Washington was elected by those state electors, sworn into office at the end of April. So technically, the first ever U.S. presidential election began today in 1789. Mark, in 1861, the Civil War is on like Donkey Kong because Florida troops take over Fort Marion at St. Augustine.
Unlike Donkey Kong, huh? With the Civil War.
Congratulations, Abe. You've won. You're inheriting a mess. It's a lot worse than what you envisioned when you campaigned on it. 1899, Walter Camp, first ever All-American team, was released today in 1899. Globetrotters' first ever game was today in 1927 in Hinckley, Illinois. So there. 1950, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was number 1 on the U.S. pop charts.
Way too late after Christmas for this still to be number 1.
I don't remember. Eisenhower, well, Truman's actually president, but it's the 50s. We just fought the war. That came after the Depression. I mean, happy, joy.
I got you.
We're going to build roads. We're going to build houses.
And we're going to,
Okay, and the
Then
economy
why are we
is just
flying around with a reindeer?
okay, and the economy is just going to be humming. Okay, that's what we're going to do in the 50s, and then midway through, we're going to get rock and roll. It's going to be a good time.
Well, we could use some of that right now.
What could we ever? I will say Truman in this day in 1953 kind of sobered everybody up. He announced to the world that we have a hydrogen bomb. Enough with this Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer stuff. We can blow you all up if we want, okay? 1959, the U.S. recognizes Fidel Castro's Cuban government on the same day that Meyer Lansky fled Cuba for the Bahamas. A coincidence?
I think not.
Hey, do you know that the NFL, kind of along the lines of the consolation game in the NCAA tournament, the Final Four? I mean, you got to be of a certain age to remember we used to have a third place game.
Right.
You know, you have the two semifinals. Obviously, the two winners are going to play for the title. Well, they didn't want the two losers just turn around and go home. So they'd play a third place game. We got rid of it about 40 years ago. Well, in football, you know, you used to have the two championship games. Well, apparently the two losers played in what was called the NFL Playoff Bowl. I never knew that. 60 years ago, yes, Detroit beat Cleveland 17-16. So there.
They should now have the last place team play the second to last place team, and the winner gets the first overall pick.
So you think Jacksonville and Detroit?
Winner gets first overall.
Wow. You could argue losers should, but that's a whole other
I know.
point. It was on this date in 1963, Art Modell fired Paul Brown. I'm sorry.
What?
Wait. The team's
What's the
named
name of the
after
team?
him. You fired him? What the hell for?
Fire me, I'll fire you.
What, are you saying he can't coach? I don't know. Seems to have done a pretty good job. We'll say 2 years later, they did win the championship. Mark, big day. You know me in the post office. Stamps got raised from 4 to 5 cents today in 63. 5 years later, they raised it from 5 to 6 cents.
Should have stopped then.
1972, the Lakers beat Atlanta 134 to 90. It was their 33rd straight win. They would lose their next game. That is the all-time record. Also on this date in 1980, the North Stars beat the Flyers, ending Philly's 35-game unbeaten streak. That's the longest in NHL history. There was no overtime, by the way, back then in the NHL. You just had a tie. So I think the Flyers were like 26-0-9 or 25-0-10, something like that. But you didn't have the whole shootout and overtime losses and all that sort of thing. That's why that record probably will never be broken with the current rules that we have now. Also on this date in 1980, Mark, the U.S. government bailed out Chrysler with a $1.5 billion loan. I bet your dad had a big opinion on that back in the day.
Yeah.
Working for GM. And
yeah, most of Michigan was against that, if I remember. I mean, it was weird.
Worked out, though.
It worked out really well.
Saved the company. Icoca came in, paid the government back in spades. So
it's all about the Chrysler LeBaron with that Corinthian leather.
Rich Corinthian leather. The Clinton impeachment trial began today in 1999. Today is a big day for BCS title games. LSU beat Ohio State 38-24. Really helped cement this whole SEC era of dominance. The Gators had beaten Ohio State the year before. Nick won his first national championship at Alabama today, 12 years ago, beating Texas in the Rose Bowl, 37-21. 3 years later, he won his third national title at Alabama, the game we were at, Mark, beating Notre Dame. It was 9 years ago, 42-14. Amazon, by the way, overtook Microsoft on this day in 2018 as the world's richest company. Elon Musk got revenge, however, 3 years later. He overtook Jeff Bezos as the world's richest man. At the time, worth a paltry $186 billion. He's worth more now. And he sold some stock also. And 3 years ago, Dabo won his second national title, beating Nick and Bama by 4 touchdowns. Johnny Mize, Eddie LeBaron, Tony Canigliaro, all born on this date, all no longer with us. Tommy Lasorda died a year ago today at the age of 93. Those that are with us, Mark, 1975 U.S. Open golf champion Lou Graham is 84. Natalie Gulbis is 39. John Lester is 38. Lewis Hamilton is 37. Care to guess how old Lamar Jackson is?
24 or 5?
5. Lamar Jackson is all of 25 years old today.
Joe Burrow.
4 years in the NFL and a Heisman.
Joe Burrow is older than Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Which I think enters into the equation if you're the Ravens. I know he just got hurt, and I think he's not going to play Sunday, which means he'll miss the last 4 games of the year, but he is only 25.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to, if you're going to lay out a 5-6 year contract, I mean, the guy's going to be 30 basically when it expires. I think you got to roll those dice.
100%, David.
And that, Mark, was the starting 5.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I've got a good in McKinney, Texas. Ramita owns 2 businesses. He has a pizza joint and a Mexican restaurant. And he was once homeless. And his mom had said to him, never forget where you came from. So he has a sign that's posted at both of his restaurants' front doors. It says, if you are hungry, homeless, or cannot afford a meal, please honor us by stopping by during business hours for a couple of slices of hot pizzas and a fountain drink. No charge. If any employee here does not treat you with the same respect as a paying customer, please call Ram directly, and he lists his phone number. No questions, no judgment. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to serve you. God bless you. What a good dude. For the bad, we go to Volusia County, where John Graham and Clandy Brooks pulled off a couple of armed robberies. John robbed a Circle K store at gunpoint. He thought he could get away with it because he dressed like a woman.
That's it?
The cross-dressing armed robber was fleeted away by Brooks. Both have been arrested. And finally, the ugly, we go to the Villages. Not because of all of the reasons you're thinking in your head right now, but because of a post office employee and a contracted postal worker, not a real postman.
Good. Don't be disparaging the USPS, Mark.
Miranda Dealey Fairley, 25, has been arrested for stealing some 4,000 pieces of mail around the holidays, mostly cards, looking for cash and gift cards to steal. Her mom is the person who was contracted for the last 6 years. But when mom discovered several tubs of bags and open mail in her bedroom, they notified authorities. Apparently, their daughter's got a little problem with substances. And now she's been taken down after stealing the mail. And that, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, January the 7th, 2022.
In our remaining moments, we do have this question for you in our Twitch chat room. Mark, being a Bucs season ticket holder made you a Bucs fan.
I would have to have gone to a game.
You've yet to go to?
No.
Just don't snap at me. It's a logical question. You've been a season ticket holder for 2 years now.
Well, there were no games to go to a year ago.
True.
And this season, no, these are investments. This is not a fandom.
So you're not even going to the Carolina game Sunday.
No.
Chance to see Brady in person.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Very quickly, Dolphins, Patriots, who wins?
Patriots.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. Would love to see the Dolphins finish. Chargers, Raiders. I think the Raiders win.
I'm going to take the Chargers.
They're favored by 3. It's in Vegas. Raiders have a pass rush problem against the Chargers. They're going to have to figure out. Rams, Niners. Mark, I'll tell you what, I think the Niners are going to miss the playoffs. I think the Rams win, and I think the Saints are going to Atlanta and winning.
I think the Rams win, but I think the Falcons win.
Look at that. Look at that. All right. And do you see a major upset this weekend? I don't. I think Tennessee will have a hard time.
I'd take the points with Houston.
I'm with you there. I think they'll have a hard time. I'll actually take the points with Carolina, 8. With that defense and the Bucs banged up offense, I'd take the points. But
I think the Bucs are going to win and cover just because they're going to be businesslike and get it done.
Miller and Moulton, have a great rest of your week and weekend. Thanks for listening.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients.